If it's Thursday, that means it's the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth tonight. We're bringing you race number 3 in the Gen 4 Arca cars of the TNT Series tonight from Homestead Miami Speedway in Florida. The Homestead Miami Speedway owes its existence to a natural disaster. Building the circuit was a key part of plans to help the city of Homestead rebound after the devastation caused by Hurricane Andrew back in 1992. The new facility was a colorful addition to the racing scene thanks to its brightly painted buildings and walls, which mirrored the aqua, purple, and silver Art Deco style of old Miami. But there was a significant problem. The racing, in truth, it wasn't very good. The Indianapolis-style four-cornered layout just didn't scale well down to Homestead's smaller size. Instead, the sharp, flat turns and aprons made passing really difficult, and it lowered overall speed of the cars. Engineers scrambled to reconfigure the flat track to a more oval, banked layout like the one we have today. But that wouldn't be enough to take the racing to the next level. In 2003, the second major rebuilding program of the oval course commenced with a $12 million rebanking project that transformed the track from a flatter 6 degrees to a computer-designed 18 to 20 degree variable banking system in the turns. We'll talk about that later. That reprofile turned the track into an iconic marker on the NASCAR schedule where the bravest can rip the wall in nearly 200 miles an hour, just inches away from concrete and steel. Chris, fun fact, know you've heard it before, but there are 1,000 palm trees on the grounds of Homestead Miami Speedway, just as numerous as the number of opportunities for drivers to make a mistake tonight. What are these drivers going to have to do to look out for as they look to make it all 175 laps, and end up at the front at the end of the night.
Well, Ellis, they're going to have to navigate around variable banking on this 1.5 mile track right here. It's a real challenge to figure out which lane that you want to run at certain points over the course of a long green flag run, and that's going to be a major story that we're going to keep an eye on all night. Multiple grooves here around this 1.5 mile track. Expect about 58 laps on a tank of fuel. Could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more, depending on how far you decide to stretch it. Maybe 3 stops, maybe 2 stops. We'll have to wait and see. 175 laps here tonight, and 16 cars expected on the track with some moderate to high tire degradation expected. Should be a great night of racing.
We're going to talk about those tires and fuel here in a little bit, Chris, when we set up the race with some stories to follow for our fans at home. And by the way, thanks for all the fans who are already tuning in and hitting up the chat. Ricky, Connor, and Hazard, we are so glad you're here. Hope everyone's having a good night. We'll get back to y'all in a minute, but first it's time for a Slingshot Racing Media fan favorite pre-race tradition, the playing of the national anthem. Everyone, if able, rise and remove your caps. We'll be back on the other end. All right, back here from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway. It's time to set up the third race of the season tonight for the Thursday Night Thunder TNT Series. We've had 2 races so far, and they have not really disappointed at all. We hit up Daytona first. Aaron Smith took home the win there in a thrilling finish. A race of attrition at Daytona. Last week, Las Vegas, much different story. It was all about finesse, and a new driver kind of came out of the woodwork. Thomas Aaron, he's actually not here tonight, and he won the second race of the season at Las Vegas, but the points are pretty clear right now. Aaron Smith is the favorite for the championship early on. We'll talk about why that's not a lock, though, momentarily. Levi Cox, with 2 strong performances, also is going to be a contender this season. Second, Justin Clafford, I think, has been one of the most consistent drivers of the season running up front. He's in third, and the picture we can look at right now is just how close this championship battle is. Sure, second is 15 points back. Levi's going to have a chance to gain tonight as he's been fastest during practice, but other than that, this points field is stacked, Chris.
It is, and it's anybody's race at this point. You mentioned Thomas Aaron winning last week. Aaron Smith had a good, solid run, though. That's 2 top 2s at the beginning of the season for him, and so he's off to a great start. I think he's looking at a very, very, tough competitor in Levi Cox, though. It seemed like Levi had him matched on green flag pace last week, and I think that Aaron admitted at some points he was faster than him on the long run. I think that this is going to be a great championship battle, and I'm also looking at Justin Clapper and Chase Lee as well as some drivers that might be able to insert themselves into this championship hunt.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of drivers who are going to have a say in this championship. And we mentioned it's really, even though it's 15 points early right now, that really isn't going to make a difference at the end of the season when we hit up the final 3 races in the playoff chase, where the top 10 are reordered, essentially just separated by 50 points after 10 races, or 12 races, I should say, and every driver in the top 10 is going to have a justifiable chance at the championship at that point. Now, That's are the points going into this race. We've also got some stories to follow to set up what fans can be on the lookout for tonight. And Chris, this is our first night race of the season. I think speed is going to be something that we see and we talk about a lot tonight. But the first story on our list, Aaron versus Aaron. We don't have Thomas Aaron here tonight. He won last week, and we thought we were going to have an Aaron versus Aaron battle, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that in the weeks to follow, I suppose, which leaves us with the wall. Tonight, we mentioned drivers ripping the fence. What does ripping the fence mean, and what do we mean drivers are going to have to watch out for the wall tonight?
Well, I always look at Homestead Miami as a risk versus reward type of scenario track. You can put your car up against the wall. When you say rip the wall, it means literally getting your right side up against the wall and just trying to get back in that gas as soon as you can to try to make that upcoming straightaway as long as you can. You're going to see drivers that run up high, run up really, really close to the wall, get tremendous runs off of these corners and down the straightaways, and that's just because, like I said, they're trying to make that straightaway as long as they can. But with running up there, you run a lot of risk of possibly damaging the right side of that vehicle, and is it worth it? Sometimes drivers will run into that wall, and then a driver behind them can't miss them because they're already up there committed to the top as well. So I'm going to be curious to see if the drivers decide, like, hey, we'll run the wall when we need to run the wall. Maybe we're trying to pass somebody, or if they decide that they're going to try to stay up there all night. I'll tell you this right now, as a driver right here, I don't think that I would feel confident in myself running up there, but some of these guys are pretty good and they're pretty confident, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see some drivers running up there for extended periods of time tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on how these drivers are driving out the gate from the drop of the green flag. And that brings us to another important question, tires. Drivers have 6 sets of tires in the pits tonight, but that doesn't necessarily tell the full story. A lot of this is going to involve how drivers manage their tires, because we might very well see green flag pit stops. Drivers might use every single drop of fuel in that fuel tank in the car, meaning that they have to pit under green flag conditions, and you want to make as few green flag pit stops as possible. So we're going to be keeping an eye on driver tires. We talked to Aaron Smith in pre-race. He said that the car was really loose for the first 4 or 5 laps, which could present an opportunity for drivers to really wear their right rear tires from the get-go. How does a driver manage those tires throughout the race, Chris?
Well, I think that's a really good point. The beginning of the race right here, we're going to have to keep our eye on any type of just, I would say Homestead Miami is one of the tracks that's most notorious for first lap, second lap, after a caution, even first lap of the race, a driver spinning out just because of how free it is on those opening laps. So we're going to keep keeping our eyes on that. But yeah, I think tire wear is going to be a tremendous story tonight. Homestead is just like any other track, really. You don't wear the tires out as much here at night as you do during the day. Daytime has some significant tire wear here. But tire wear is still going to be a problem, and as you mentioned right here, wearing the right rear out at the beginning part of the run, that is something you got to keep an eye on. But I think over the course of the long run, it's going to be about managing that right front. Drivers that are running the bottom, they're going to have to be very, very cognizant and very aware of trying to make sure that they don't wear that right front out on the bottom, and that just means backing it up, backing up corner entry. Maybe taking a little bit more of a, not necessarily a direct line down, but sort of floating that car down a little bit. And we're going to see all kinds of different, thought processes about corner entry tonight, how far these guys are willing to drive it down into the corner, and versus the guys who decide they're going to go up to the top and try to rip the boards.
Yeah, we're going to have some intense racing action tonight. That is not a question at all. What is a question is, will some of these drivers be able to get back on track after kind of a rough start to the season, Chris? A couple things I want to talk about. We saw last week, really, tempers begin to flare between Tyler Truex and Justin Clapper for an incident that happened on the track. We saw Tyler Truex kind of show his displeasure with Clapper coming down pit road during that caution. But several drivers, aside from Clapper and Tyler Truex, had rough races last week in Las Vegas. What do you have to do if you're able to kind of just reset coming into a brand new week? How difficult is it to do that as a driver, kind of forget about last week and move into this week?
Well, sometimes, with a rivalry, it is a little bit difficult. Luckily for Justin Clapper, I don't think. Tyler Truex is here. I was going to say I didn't think that he's here. So yeah, we're going to keep our eyes on that. If I were to give those drivers a message, though, it would be like, hey, that's not going to be able to, that's not going to get you in victory lane tonight. Trying to get involved in this spat, and I don't think it will be a problem at all. Those guys, they're both really mature, and they're going to be looking forward to moving on right here. And last week is super unfortunate, but sometimes you'll have that in big time stock car auto racing, and this is a track right here. I think that's going to be a little bit better as far as Las Vegas is a very frustrating track to pass on. Homestead, Miami, not as frustrating. You've got options here, and you've got some variability, in lines that you can run. So I don't suspect that's going to carry over at all into this week.
It's going to be a fun night, some fun races and battles. We're going to be keeping a close eye on track. But hey, it is time to get this thing underway. Qualifying just finished up. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the starting grid for this race. And based on the point standings, based on what we've talked about, it probably should not come as a surprise that Aaron Smith is on the pole for tonight's race, 175 laps at Miami. It's going to be Smith on the pole, followed by really his closest championship rival, Levi Cox, in the number one. Is going to be starting just one position behind that number in second. Gregory Shepsis, Chris, we've seen some speed out of him the first 2 weeks. Got into some trouble early last week at Las Vegas. He's looking to regroup with a third-place start tonight. Matt Garrett, newcomer, starting from the fourth position in that 3-car. He's going to have 3 positions to gain if he's going to get up to the front. Robert Walton's going to be coming from 5th in that number 66 car. And then Justin Clapper, we mentioned him earlier, going to be coming from 6th position starting tonight on the 3rd row. Chase Leahy, a driver we've also seen with speed early in both of the previous races, starting 7th in the number 34. Brandon Roberts in that 00 had a lot of speed at the end of the Daytona race before getting involved in an incident. It's going to be starting 8th tonight. We mentioned Tyler Truex, fast, one of the fastest cars on the track last week at Vegas, ran some problems towards the end of the race. He's going to be looking to regroup from 9th position tonight. And then Steve Lashinsky is going to start his first race of the season tonight from the outside of row number 5. Anthony Burleson starting 11th in that 79. David Reichman, I felt like if there was a wreck last week, David was in it, but none of them were his fault, Chris. He just found his way in those crashes in the number 6. He's going to be coming from 12th position tonight. Joshua Kerner starting in the 13th position from the 14 car. Glenn Grimm in the 08 is going to be starting 14th. Bobby Grant starting 15th in that number 98, followed by Chris Blassie, who had a lot of speed the past 2 races, just doesn't really have the finishes to show for it. Chris is going to be starting 16th, with Michael Benton starting in the 17th position. 17 drivers going to be pulling those belts tight here momentarily for a start from Homestead Miami Speedway, Chris. Last moments before the pace car peels off and brings them down to the green. This is a long race, 175 laps. How difficult is it to be patient for these drivers?
Oh, it can be very, very difficult. And as you mentioned, Ellis, this is a long race. I think that you got to keep that in the back of your mind right here. And you've got options. Like I said before, you've got some chances to pass, so try not to get carried away right here at the beginning of the race. Just remember that it is a long race, and if you do get shuffled back in the early stages, you can get back to the front. It's not too difficult to get around people here.
We got a difference of opinions in the chat when we're going to go under yellow for the first time. Connor says lap 14. We said you're not allowed to guess, Connor. And John says it's going green all the way. Pace car is going to pull off. We are green flag racing from Homestead Miami Speedway. Race number 3 for the TNT Series. Aaron Smith gets away cleanly as the cars slide down into turn number 1. Cox is second. Meanwhile, Gregory Shepsis moves into third with Matt Garrett to his outside. First 4 single file, but 3 wide racing behind them.
3 wide back behind these guys. I see Robert Walton right there in the middle. Looks like they're going to possibly, nope, they're still going to be 2 wide, maybe even 3 wide here going through the middle of turns 3 and 4.
It's that 34 Chase Leahy ducking down to the inside to see if he can make a move on the 63, the 00 and the 66 of Robert Walton. He backs out of the throttle. It's all up to the 00 if he's going to make a pass on the 66 of Robert Walton. To the outside, Leahy leans in ominously to the inside. He might not be there, though. That battle's going to continue too wide down the backstretch. Roberts in the 00, Walton in the 00 car. Brandon Roberts in the 00 car. It's Walton on the inside there in that Bass Pro Shops car. Meanwhile, the 99 of Steven Lashinsky jumps into that fight on the outside. They're both creeping up on the number 63 of Clapper, who started 5th, and he's up 1 position.
Yeah, meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead. Levi Cox going to go to the inside of Aaron Smith. He's going to put that Dodge out into the wind. Going to take the lead right here and put the 1 to the top spot.
Levi Cox to the point down the back straightaway. 1 car a little bit into the wall there. Matthew Garrett might have clipped the retaining wall on the exit of turn 2. 1 car dives to the inside. Top 4 single file. Looks like Gregory Sheps is to the outside. He's got company from Justin Clapper, who's the first car we've seen tonight to really rip that wall. 1 car loose down the front straightaway. That looks like it's the 69 of Tyler Truex in trouble early here on lap number 3.
Yeah, a little bit of a loose moment. As we heard in the pre-race, it seems like these cars are going to be a little bit loose here on the opening few laps of a run. And seen a lot of drivers migrating up towards the top, maybe trying to fill out that loose condition up there.
The migration has begun. One of those cars is the 19. I believe that is Matthew Garrett. He has moved to the top. Right around the middle now, he makes that pass on Aaron Smith. Justin Clapper continues to wrap the wall behind those drivers, working his way by Gregory Shepsis. But yeah, Chris, drivers all over the track right now. There doesn't seem to be a consensus on what the fast way around is. Everyone doing a little bit of experimentation right now. Meanwhile, Levi Cox enjoying the view he has from his rear view mirror. Car's starting to wiggle, though. I'm noticing Garrett wiggled a little bit off at 2. Aaron Smith wiggled. He's got company from Clapper. We've mentioned this is kind of classic Aaron Smith. Now lap number 5, he starts to fall back a few positions after starting on the pole. How much of that do you think is tire management at this point?
I think it's 100% tire management. I think the line that Aaron Smith is running, I think this is the classic Homestead conservation line down here at the bottom. I think that as we get further and further into the run, I think that you're going to see this line right here pay off above all others. These guys that are running the top right here, they're fast right now as we got Matt Garrett trying to take the lead from Levi Cox, but I'll be curious to see if they can maintain their pace up there on that top lane.
Yeah, Matt Garrett is fast in that number 19 car. He leans into the wind, and he goes to the top, climbs the banking out of turn number 4. We've got a new leader at the line. It's Garrett Clapper coming back from 6th position, Chris, up to 2nd. That car is on rocket boosters. Clapper riding the wall. We mentioned it. You said the tried and true long run speed's probably going to be found on the inside, but right now that's not causing any hesitation. Car sideways. The 00. That is Brandon Roberts. He gathers
we got a car
it back
in the wall
up
behind them. Joshua Kerner got turned into the wall in that number 14 car.
He continues down. Yeah, a lot of damage, heavy damage on that right side. Kerner wraps it up to the wall. He's going to get loose. Not sure if a tire went down. Can he hang on to it to get it down pit road and not bring us under caution? It looks like he does a masterful job. The 14 keeps it going. We're still clean and green from Homestead Miami Speedway. And Chris, not sure what battle to follow right now because it is so tight back there around the 5th and 6th position.
Yeah, we saw right there. It looked like the 08 of Glenn Grimm got sideways, and unfortunately, Joshua Kerner, just an innocent victim there. Shame for him.
Yeah, and Kerner, just looking at the stats from the past few weeks, started 14th at Daytona, finished 12th. Las Vegas, he finished 9th inside the top 10, so this is not going to be kind of the consistent finish that he was looking for tonight unless we have some more attrition over the course of the race. Chris, there's a battle for the lead, though.
Yeah.
Garrett on the inside, Justin Clapper to the outside. That outside line is the fastest way around the track right now. 9 laps in the book from Miami. Clapper trying to go for the lead here, and just Clapper, we've seen him be fast all season long. He finished 2nd at Daytona, 5th at Las Vegas, and he is no stranger to the lead right now.
Not at all, and it looked like right there down the front stretch, it looked like Matt Garrett just lifted a little bit, said, "You're faster than me right now. Go ahead and take it, bud," and put Justin Clapper out to the front. He's probably one of the higher drivers I've seen on the track. Like, he's getting closer to the wall than anybody else. Looks like Chase Leahy in the wall back here. Looks like he scrubbed it down the back stretch. Gonna keep on going. Looks like just a little bit of paint, but yeah, we got Aaron Smith looking to the inside right here. You know, we said Aaron was taking it real easy earlier, and I think that you're right. I think that he is. Let's see what Aaron's thinking out here. So we got a pulse monitor on him, heart rate monitor, and we'll check in right here with Aaron Smith and see what that pulse check is saying. Hopefully he's got it on tonight. He might not have it on, Ellis.
Well, we can definitely fix that here momentarily. We'll check it with Aaron, maybe under caution, see if we can rectify that situation. But I tell you, Chris, right now, I've seen a couple of moments that I would guess make that heart rate rise just a little bit. He had a little run-in with Chase Leahy about 2.5 laps ago, where I think Leahy was making a crossover move on Smith, and I feel like their bumpers connected. Both of them got a little bit wiggly, but they both gathered it back up and continue on the track. 12 laps in the book here. Clapper and Garrett still going for it up to the lead. It's brought Levi Cox into the fray just a little bit. 3 cars separated by just about 10 car lengths down the backstretch. Add Tyler Truex into that mix. He started 9th. He's up to 4th position looking for 3rd. Cox has other thoughts, closes the door on Tyler Truex, Chris, but Truex is on the move early tonight. We saw him with a lot of speed last week at Las Vegas. He wasn't at Daytona. Meanwhile, a battle for the lead. 4 or 5 cars here on top of each other.
How could you not love racing here at this track? You know, looking back from Justin Clapper as Matt Garrett's going to take the lead back. We saw cars in every single lane on the track, man. This Homestead Miami just always puts on a great show.
It is putting on a great show indeed, and you can see that battle continue. Cox in that black and red car to the inside. Tyler Truex on the inside. Middle now going for the 3-wide pass up the middle. Maybe the 2-4 special isn't going to get it here, but he looks like he's going to have the advantage over Tyler Truex. He climbs to 3rd. He goes down the banking to the inside of Justin Clapper, who's been ripping that wall all race long. And Truex, he's going to have other thoughts. Truex looking for the lead off of turn number 2. Definitely a wiggle from that number 69 car. It's going to put him in danger of getting passed back for the 2nd position by Clapper down into turn number 3. You can see, Chris, the different strategies are kind of forming at this point. We've seen 2 cars, the 2 leaders ripping the wall, but Tyler Truex is making it work on the inside right now. He creeps up and tries to close the door. You mentioned the ooh on Justin Clapper. That was a close moment. Clapper shows the discretion and lifts off that throttle to fight another day, but Truex is not giving up. Dogged determination from that driver out of New Jersey in the 69, wiggling again off of turn 2, but not losing as much ground this time to Matt Garrett in that 19 car.
No, we talked about Truex and Clapper in the pre-race. You know, would we see any type of fireworks maybe tonight? And they're racing hard with each other, but they're racing very clean and respectful with each other. As Truex here looking to try to clear Matt Garrett. Truex doing it on the bottom right here while a lot of these other guys have moved up to the top. So, you know, this is pretty impressive from the driver of the 69. He's looking to take the lead here.
Yeah, Truex is going to make a run at it here. Really, again, loose. We mentioned that is the danger. Now, Chris, what does that do to the tires? Running that inside, but still getting a little bit loose and having that tail kind of just jump out from underneath you off of the corners.
Well, you know, I think that sometimes, you know, if you feel like your car, if you're running the bottom and you feel like, you know, hey, I'm picking up a loose condition, I'm getting looser and looser, maybe that's at the point where you decide to run up high, run up top, and maybe I can heat up that right front or vice versa. I'm not sure what it does with these cars. You know, we ran a Truck Series race here, you and I did last week, and I felt like over the course of a long run, if I was getting tight on the bottom and I went up to the top, felt like I could sort of, you know, heat that right rear up maybe a little bit more up there, you know, and maybe I could, you know, change the balance of the vehicle. So I think that you'll see some of that tonight as well. I think you'll see drivers sort of move around to try to maybe affect a loose condition they're feeling, or maybe affect a tight condition that they're feeling.
And drivers definitely going to be starting to feel the conditions of their race cars degrade just a little bit. Now, 18 laps in of 175. Tire wear is going to start to set in at any moment. We mentioned the fuel window tonight between 55 and 60 laps. Obviously, we're about a third into that fuel run right now, but tires are going to be hurting, especially as this run progresses. Johnny in the chat says, let's not talk about that truck race last week. Yeah, I agree, Johnny. We'll forget about that, but Chris did win that race. You didn't mention that. Hey, if you're watching the chat, speaking of our chatters, we appreciate it. Let us know you're here. We're going to give away a free 1/64 scale diecast to one lucky chatter tonight. We love to encourage active chat, camaraderie in our chat, and that is one way to do it. Let us know who you're rooting for on the track. Who are you here watching for? Tyler Truex loose off the corner. Also, don't forget, we are giving away a free 1/24 scale Dale Earnhardt Jr. autographed Oreo diecast. All you have to do is click the link in the video description or pinned at the top of the chat. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and you are automatically entered in. Boy, that's going to be a cool giveaway. We gave away another Dale Jr. autograph diecast a month or two ago, and our fans definitely love that. We're doing it again. Chris, this is one of my all-time favorite paint schemes for sure of any NASCAR series. It's a classic.
It really is. That's a great paint scheme. It's a classic paint scheme, and one of the few times after he made the transition to the Cup Series that Dale Jr. put the number 3 on one of his vehicles at the time it was the NASCAR Busch Series, and yeah, very iconic paint scheme. One of my favorites as well.
Iconic indeed. Hey, Aaron Smith working his way back up through the field, Chris. Last couple of laps, one of the things I'm noticing, Levi Cox back to 5th position, falling off just a little bit. Are we starting to see the effects of tire management? I know we've talked about it a lot tonight come into play. Cox back to 5th. Maybe he's just settling in. Aaron Smith kind of methodically working his way back up through the field right now. And you can see those two drivers. Smith is running a similar pace with Justin Clapper in front of him, Chris, but the top 3 has continued to be tight. It's hard to want to take the camera off of that battle right now. Hey, Chase Leahy update says, computer froze and I got out of the way and he hit the wall. So Chase Leahy off the track right now. He is out. Michael Benton out of the track as well. Had some trouble early. He is running in the 15th position, 6 laps down, but he has gathered it back up and he has got that thing going. So 3 cars right now off the lead lap, leaving 14 cars there. But Chris, top 3 have moved to the top of the track, kind of following along here, just a little bit of follow the leader, it looks like, if you're Tyler Truex and Justin Clapper. Their lap times are comparable. In fact, that time by, Truex and Clapper ran identical lap times to the 1,000th of a second. So these drivers definitely figuring it out now. They diversify their approach a little bit. Truex may be exploring one lane down from the top. If you're driving at a track like Homestead, what's the importance of kind of exploring different lines in contrast to what your opponent in front of you doing, like what we're seeing Tyler Truex do now with Matt Garrett right in front of him?
Well, I think that keeping clean air on the nose is something really important too. Sometimes I have a really hard time with vision on the track, and so sometimes seeing where the lines are if I'm running right behind somebody, it's hard to pick up where the seams are, where that white line is that separates the racing surface from the apron. So, sometimes it's good just to get out of the tire tracks of the guy in front of you, just so, one, you can get that clean air on the nose, but also you can be a little bit cleaner as far as hitting your marks is concerned. So, there are some drivers, honestly, that are really, really good. They're better at chasing than they are at leading because they can sort of judge themselves off the driver in front of them. So, I think there's merit to both the ways of thinking. But, yeah, if I'm a driver, sometimes I just want to get out into that clean air, regardless of, where it might be on the track. You mentioned Levi Cox earlier. I think that Levi is sitting in a really good spot, actually. I know that Aaron Smith just got around him, but I think they're running very similar lines. I think they're running very similar pace as well. And I think they both have the long run game in mind right here. Not seeing a ton of fall off in these guys up top that are, the top 3 that are running up high. So I think that's very encouraging if maybe you feel more comfortable up there. So got a ways to go on this fuel run, just about halfway through, so I have to keep on watching it. But I think, that's very encouraging so far for guys who want to run the top.
Yeah, hey, speaking of guys on the top, let's look at the guy who's been running the bottom for a minute. Back in 7th position, Chris, this is a battle between Gregory Shepsis and Steven Lashinsky. Lashinsky in that monster jam, number 99 car. This is Steve's first race of the season. I believe he was out of country for a little bit. Lashinsky on the inside. He's up 3 positions after starting 7th. He's got that thing hooked up quite a bit. This driver out of Wisconsin, Chris, he's been racing sim racing for 26 years. I thought we had been doing it for a long time. That gives us a run for our money. 26 years on sim racing. And any idea why he has Monster Jam on the hood of his car? Any guesses?
Maybe he's just a Monster Jam fan. Enlighten me.
I'm sure he's a Monster Jam fan, but he's also a pit crew member and a former crew chief of Monster Jam trucks, including Monster Mutt. So,
that's a good one.
I think he might be on another one now. I don't want to venture to try to remember which one that was and get it wrong, but I guarantee he was on a Monster Mutt Dalmatian for a little bit. And crew chief that one. So, guy with some mechanical knowledge here tonight, and he is definitely showing it off as he runs 7th right now, up 3 positions from his 10th starting spot tonight.
All right, Ellis, so on the Monster Jam theme of things, what is your favorite monster truck?
Oh, easy. It's Monster Mutt Dalmatian.
Of course.
I was really excited when I was like, what trucks did you work on? He said, Monster Mutt. And, so that's my wife's favorite truck, so I've got to go for that one as well. But I will say there's another one that I really like. I don't even know if it's around anymore. It's the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. I remember think that was the name of it, kind of black and purple with a mohawk on top of it. That was a pretty sick one as well. If you're watching the chat, let us know what your favorite monster truck is. Connor Lines chiming in, Gravedigger and Zombie, couple cars loose off the corner. Chris, what about you?
I'm with Connor, Gravedigger. I know it seems like a cliche, but it's just such an iconic truck, and, Dennis Anderson was the GOAT. Definitely got to go with Gravedigger.
In the chat, Chase Leahy, we talked about his father at Daytona. His father drove the monster truck, the Broker, back in the 80s and
that's
90s,
awesome.
I believe. And that's Chase's favorite monster truck as well. So battle going on, Chris, back on the track for the 5th position. Levi Cox has found his way back up to Justin Clapper, who's been ripping the wall, but it's looking like those tires are starting to be a little bit worse for wear for Justin Clapper as he does battle on the outside of Levi Cox headed down into 1.
Yeah, and Aaron Smith has driven around Justin Clapper and Tyler Truex, and I think Levi Cox is going to do the same here, and I think Gregory Shepsis might follow. I just got done talking about how the drivers that were running the top, that they were sticking there, they were hanging on. I think we're starting to see that transition point of the run right here where guys who are ripping the fence, I think that their tires are starting to give way right here. I think Gregory Shepsis is sitting in a really good spot on his long run pace as well.
Oh, leader in the wall. Matt Garrett clips the wall. This was the 2nd or 3rd time he's done it off of turn 4. Aaron Smith is going to jump on that. Into the lead goes the yellow number 70. Smith to the point. Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
No, you're good. And yeah, I think that we're just reaching that point where there's a little bit of a crossover point where the guys who are running the top, they're a little bit faster than the guys who run the bottom for a while for the first. This is about half the run right here. So, we'll have to keep an eye on this all night. And, if it comes down to a short run at the end, I really like the guys who are running the top right there because they're going to have the experience. They're going to have the knowledge of what the top is like. But if we don't get many yellows here, I think the guys who are running the bottom are kind of going to wear everybody out tonight.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a little bit of a preview of that here on lap number 33. The top 3 have stretched it out just a little bit. The battle is back in the 5th position. Tyler Truex falling into the clutches of Steven Lashinsky, as well as now Justin Clapper, who's trying to climb his way back up through the field. Clapper and Truex, keep an eye on this battle. These drivers had a little bit of a run-in last week at Las Vegas. We'll see how they race each other now. I think Truex might have just gotten by Clapper, if I'm not mistaken, so that might have gone off without a hitch, but both drivers still climbing to the top of the track, Chris. I think that the car I've seen the loosest tonight has been the 69 of Tyler Truex, really doing an impressive job of hanging on to it like he has. Yeah, off of turn 2, Truex is now going to have to defend against Clapper. It's not going to be able to defend hardly at all because of that contact off the wall.
Yeah, I think one of the cars that, I was just about to brag on him how good his car looked. He got a little bit loose right there off turn 4. Is that number 99 of Steven Lashinsky right there. That car is really wrapping the white line well, and I really like what I'm seeing off the corner. It seems like he's not sliding as much. Yeah, I think his tire's a little bit hot right there, and he's back on the bottom here, but really like the attitude of that car. I think it looks really, really smooth on corner exits, so we'll be watching that 99 tonight to see, if he's able to maintain that run. Gregory Sheps is right in front of him as well. That's another car that also looks really, really smooth out there here on the long run.
Yeah, talking about Greg Sheps is just looking at what he's done this season. Started 12th in Daytona, ran in the top 5 much of the race, finished 13th, finished 12th at Las Vegas after starting 2nd. So some disappointing finishes, especially last week at Las Vegas with a lot of speed. Sheps is looking to kind of get back on track this season after a bit of a struggle early on. And weirdly enough, Greg says his favorite style of and best NASCAR track style is road courses. So I'm really curious how that is going to play out later on in this season when we visit at least one road course at Watkins Glen. And Chris, that's in the playoffs.
Yeah,
the Sonoma is in just a couple of weeks as well. Yeah. So a couple of tracks where we could see Gregory Shepsis, who is a self-professed road racer, really kind of shine.
Yeah, I'm going to be really curious to see him here in a couple of weeks at Sonoma. Sonoma's a very, technical road course. That sometimes you'll hear people call it like the short track of road courses. It's very twisty and turny, and I'm going to be curious to see how he runs there and how some of these other guys stack up. We've seen Aaron Smith on road courses. Aaron Smith holds some stock car lap records on iRacing in multiple vehicles on road courses, so we know how talented he is. Maybe Gregory Shepsis can give him a run for his money there.
Yeah, and speaking of Aaron Smith, he looked like he was going to have his hands full with Matt Garrett there, but the tires are just starting to really show for Matt Garrett. He's been wrapping the outside with a lot of speed, still keeping about 3 car lengths back from Aaron Smith, and you can see the different approach styles there. One Aaron Smith on the bottom of the track. Looks like Garrett might have just gotten in the wall into turn number 3 and 4. Levi Cox is going to jump on that opportunity. Goes down to the inside. Going to try to make a pass headed down into turn 1. Levi Cox kind of shifting his approach down to the inside, Chris. We're starting to see those drivers who've been running the inside much of the evening rise to the front of the field. It's Smith in first, Cox second, Garrett third. Meanwhile, rest of the top 10, Sheps is fourth, Lashinsky fifth, Clapper in sixth, Truex in seventh, Robert Walton in eighth, Brandon Roberts in ninth, and Chris Blassie up to 10th after starting 16th. Chris, we're going to be getting close to a pit stop window in the next 10 or 15 laps. I think before that happens and as things begin to open up just a little bit for some of the leaders, we should take a moment to hear from the presenting partner of the Thursday Night Thunder Series, Sim Wrap Market. If you're in the market for a paint scheme, we've seen some good ones tonight. Check out Sim Wrap Market. Their links in the video description. We'll hear from them. We'll be right back on the other end of the break. All right, back here from Homestead Miami Speedway, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot Racing Media booth for Thursday Night Thunder. Your current leader, Aaron Smith, followed by Levi Cox, Gregory Shepsis, your top 3, and then Matt Garrett running in 4th. Chris, we were talking during the break and a little bit before about how close Garrett has been running to the wall. We've talked about ripping the fence. all night long. We saw that strategy really play off early in a run. We were starting to see those cars fall off, but you thought it might be a good opportunity to just show viewers how close Matt Garrett is to this wall as he runs through this corner. So we're going to take a moment to ride on board that number 19 car.
Yeah, riding on board with him right here. I'm afraid that we might have come to him too late because I think his car is getting tight and I think he's having to use a little bit more track, and so he's not quite running as high as he was earlier, but we'll be able to come back to it later. We'll watch him down here one more time down here in turns 1 and 2 to see if he gets all the way up near it like he was. Yeah, he's running a little bit lower on entry, but you see right here how he's sliding up, slide. He's not as close as he was, but he's still super, super close. Takes a lot of concentration to be able to put the right side of these vehicles up on that wall.
Yeah, speaking of close and tight, Chris, the battle for the lead's tightened up between Aaron Smith and Levi Cox. Cox is really chased down the 70 of Aaron Smith, both running the inside line here. Just a moment ago, Cox had gotten back to about less than a car length off the rear bumper of that bright yellow number 70 of Smith. It's since eased off just a little bit, back to 4 car lengths now as they head through turn 1 and 2. That number 1's looking real fast after starting second, Chris. He's finished third in both races this season at Daytona and Las Vegas, looking to do a spot or 2 better tonight. I know Levi Cox would love to get into victory lane right now. How difficult is it to be patient when you see that lead so close outside your front window?
It's so hard. It's very, very difficult. And I mentioned earlier how I thought Levi Cox was looking really good. Aaron Smith had gotten around him early in the run. I say about a third of the way into the run. But Levi was still looking really good on pace, looking really good on his line. And I still like what I'm seeing, but this track right here later in the run, man, it just requires so much patience as we've got a battle for the 4th position between Matt Garrett and Steven Lashinsky. It just requires so much patience. You spend a lot of time off the throttle here compared to maybe other mile and a halves, especially on corner entry. You're not full throttle until fairly late into the corner compared to some of these other mile and a half. So when you're Levi Cox and you're so close, or Steven Lashinsky right here, so close to getting around that guy in front of you, you just have to be patient sometimes, and you just got to wait, just wait on that throttle to be able to make that pass.
And Steven Lashinsky does make that pass. The number 99 is up to 4th position. We've seen the number 19 of Garrett struggle for the past 10 to 15 laps. That struggle is going to continue. Lashinsky continues his charge from the 10th starting spot tonight all the way up to 4th. 6 positions. Race number 1 this season for Lashinsky in the Monster Jam car, and he is doing a great job so far. In the chat, we've got a lot of chatters chasing there. Connor says he has an idea. I'm curious to hear his idea. Let it rip, Connor. Let us know in the chat what your idea is. Chris, battle for the lead. Levi Cox has an idea, and he wants to go for that lead, Chris. He has run out of patience watching Aaron Smith from his front window, and he now will be looking at Smith in the rear view mirror if he's able to close this pass. Smith chops back to the outside to see if he can cross over Levi Cox. I don't know if he's going to have the positioning headed down into this corner, though. Cox down to the inside. Smith retains that position, and he climbs the banking to the outside. He diamonds the corner. Back down to the inside goes Smith. It's about 3 car lengths. It's going to stabilize. Cox takes the lead by a car length now.
Matt Garrett sideways off the corner right there. Sorry to interrupt, Ellis. Yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
Garrett right there almost lost it off turn 2. Yeah, we'll have to watch this this gap right here between Levi Cox and Aaron Smith right here and see if, if Aaron Smith can maintain on his back bumper.
And Chris, you mentioned Garrett. He is struggling. He is going to be the first car down pit road. The number 19 gives up 5th position. Garrett's going to be our first taker, and now this might start a tidal wave of cars coming down pit road. We'll follow the leaders closely. Cox and Smith race down the backstretch, down into turns 3 and 4. Will this be the first pit stop for the leaders on lap number 50? And Chris, we mentioned it. This would not get us to a 2-stop race. Some drivers we think might try to stretch it, but based on what we're seeing on tires, I don't know of all that many drivers that might be comfortable going 60 laps, about 10 more laps on these sets of tires.
Yeah, I think that if there's a chance that you can make it on one more stop after this upcoming one, I think that you're definitely going to do it. I think that you'll definitely try to tough it out. There is a warning that the spotter will give you once you reach a certain threshold of tire wear. Not sure if any drivers have gotten that warning yet. I feel pretty confident that these first two, and Gregory Shepsis, Steven Lashinsky, they probably haven't gotten it just because of the pace that they're running and the line that they're running around the bottom of the track, wrapping that white line. But yeah, Matt Garrett, we saw him running up high. Tyler Truex the same way. They might be a little bit concerned about their tire wear, about possibly making it as many laps as they have to.
Speaking of tires, Brandon Roberts, second taker on pit road in that 00, been running outside the top 10 most of the night. He's going to take that position, give it up for tires at this point. Leader's going to be coming by to put him a lap down, followed by 4th, 5th, 6th position. See if that can change maybe the tide a little bit for Roberts, making up some positions on those fresh tires as he rolls off the pit road. Battle for the lead, Chris. Aaron Smith really pushing it here to the inside of Levi Cox. Just a car separates these drivers. Now a sheet of paper between them. I'm not sure you could slide one in there. And now it's going to be Cox to the outside. It's going to be Smith on the inside, headed down into turn number 3. This tells me Aaron Smith might be getting close to a pit stop at this point if he's trying to make that pass for the lead and position himself to the inside. We're going to keep an eye on it. It's not going to be this time by. We're going to see if anyone else takes advantage of maybe an opportunity to pick up a couple spots with the undercut on fresh tires. But meanwhile, the battle continues side by side. Cox climbs the banking to the outside. It's Smith to the inside. And Chris Smith is doing such an excellent job of keeping that nose almost on that white line. And you can see how much speed he's able to carry off even on the inside. Levi Cox can't complete that pass with all that momentum on the outside.
Yeah, and just tremendous racecraft from both of these drivers. Levi Cox is doing a great job of putting that car right on the right side door of Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith would like to have a little bit more track to be able to, use that throttle to be able to throttle up and get around him. And Aaron is doing such a good job of, like you said, just keeping that nose planted right there, not sliding up into that car on the outside. You really want to be able to do that here because of the progressive banking up off the corner. Like I said, just tremendous racecraft from both these drivers here.
And Chris, while we're watching this battle with these drivers kind of running different lines, for the fans at home, we've mentioned progressive banking a couple times. How would you explain that? We're both teachers. How would you explain that to students as we watch the number 6 of David Reichman make his way down pit road?
Well, you can kind of see the seams in the track, the black seams in the track. So from the white line to the first black seam, I don't have the banking numbers in front of me, but I want to say maybe it's like 18 degrees of banking.
It is 18 degrees, correct.
And then the middle lane, I think, is 20, and then the top lane, or I'm sorry, the middle lane's 19 and the top lane's 20. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know it's...
You are correct. Those are the exact numbers.
Yeah, if you roll the bottom right there, that is the shorter way around, but you can't maintain the same speed because there is just not as much banking for the car to rely on. And so, we saw drivers running up high early in the race. They were able to go up there. That's a longer distance around, but since there's more banking up there, you can go a little bit faster up there. Only problem with that is that you're spending more time on the throttle, and more time on the throttle means that you're killing your tires more. So, it's just really hard with a track like this where the guy on the outside has an advantage possibly to not slide up maybe and want to, try to utilize that banking to try to, maximize the total speed that you could possibly get.
Right now, these drivers are maximizing these cars and get as much speed as they can out of them. A couple of cars have come to pit road since we've been talking about this battle. Tyler Truex, Robert Walton, we mentioned David Reichman. Chris, I'm interested to see Tyler Truex was one of those drivers I felt like lost his footing under those tires a little bit earlier than several other of his competitors around him. I'm curious to see if he's able to pick up a couple of spots here, surely by coming in and getting those fresh Goodyear rubbers and gaining a couple of seconds a lap here before people like Anthony Burleson, Chris Blassie, Bobby Grant up into the 6th position at this point. So we're going to be keeping an eye on what that short pitting, as we might call it, does for some of these drivers, Chris. I mentioned Brandon Roberts. He is one of those first cars. He was the first car to come down pit road. One interesting fact out about this Texas driver, 6-time iRacing division champion.
Oh, that's cool.
And that shows you he's been running in the top 10, and he's had some speed both races, but that shows you how competitive this league is and how fast these drivers are. But he's a 6-time iRacing division champ, and he's not running up front every single race because he's got so many competitors that are just stout drivers as we watch that number 0 speed around the track on lap number 60.
Yeah, is Michael Benton in the wall behind him right there? Yeah, I agree completely, Ellis. Very, very stacked field competition-wise. And his resume, and it's not like, Brandon Roberts is running poorly. He's got some damage here to the right front. I think that's maybe hampering his speed a little bit tonight. But I think, like you said, that just speaks to the level of competition that we see out here. And I think that for a lot of these drivers, our leaders up here at the front right here, they've hit a magic number getting to lap 60. I think they feel very, very good about making this race on just one more stop after this upcoming one. 2 total stops now.
Yeah. Several other drivers are feeling that vibe as well. Garrett on pit road, Shepsis, Grimm, Burleson on pit road as well. Several drivers who have not pit came down that time by. Now all eyes going to be on the leaders. Is it their time to pit? I'm looking to see if they're slowing down just a little bit, and it's not going to be this lap. Even Cox, who ducks down to the inside, is going to say, no, I'll take one more lap around. Even though they're good to the green in a 2-stop race at this point, if it were to run out without a caution now on lap 61. Interesting strategy. Even though they can make it, these guys are staying out. If you're Cox or Smith or even Lashinsky, are you afraid that this gives an advantage to, Matt Garrett, Tyler Truex, Gregory Shepsis with 4 or 5 fresher tire laps, and they can close the gap?
Here we go. They're coming to pit road this time, Ellis.
Close entry to pit road. Smith runs into trouble almost through the grass. Did he get it woe down in time? Levi Cox made a race of it down onto pit road, and you can see how just loose that yellow number 70 was, both side by side. They're going to come down to the attention of their pit crews, and everything's got to be perfect here. The entry into the pit stall, the pit crew stop, and then the exit, of course, the most important part. Who's going to come off first and get that track position? Will Smith be able to retain, or Levi Cox get a position on Smith as they get ready to exit pit road in just about a moment or so?
Yeah, I think that Levi Cox actually slid through his pit stall. I think that maybe, I'm not 100% on that, so don't hold me to it. But I think he did lose some ground possibly because maybe he's sliding through. But
and watch Matt Garrett on the outside here. Will he be able to get by Aaron Smith, who's still on that access road? Coming off the backstretch, Matt Garrett is going to get in the wall off of turn number 2. Desperate to make a pass on his competitor, Aaron Smith. It's going to be 7, 8, 9 car leaks. Garrett gaps the number 70, but that might be a momentary gain. We'll see if Aaron Smith is able to get it back up to speed and get it going, Chris. But you can see the tail of the tape here. Just one small mistake from Levi Cox sliding into pit road, into his pit stall, and that set him back nearly, just looking at the lap times that time, that set him back 2.5 seconds as he was almost dead even with Aaron Smith coming down pit road. So a small mistake gets magnified very quickly in these critical green flag pit stop. Now every driver has made their first stop of the race for fuel and fresh Goodyear rubbers.
Yeah, and you brought up if I'm Aaron Smith or if I'm Levi Cox, am I feeling a little bit concerned? Am I a little bit worried about these drivers right here that are on fresher tires getting around me? And my answer would be I don't think so at this point. If I'm Aaron Smith and Levi Cox, Gregory Shepsis as well, I'm still feeling very confident about my speed. Matt Garrett right here, who has taken the lead. Matt Garrett's been fast all night, but he's got 15 laps on his tires already. And I'm not sure that he can make it to the end because I'm not sure how long he can go on fuel. So that concerns me a little bit if I'm the driver of the 19, as Aaron Smith is going to go back around him and take the lead. And absolutely, the point changes. Aaron Smith, your points leader, now becomes the race leader on lap number 66 of 175. Chris, one of the things Connor asked for in the chat was a crank it up, and I think now that we've seen all the cars come down pit road for their first pit stop of the evening, it might be a good idea to get that wall cam going and just look and listen in to how much speed and noise these cars are making as they careen around Homestead Miami Raceway. I think we can do that. Let's crank it up.
seeing how fast these cars are. Some choose to rip the fence. The 19 of Garrett in second place continues to rip the fence, but he's got Levi Cox to deal with. Meanwhile, Cox continues his charge to the front. He lost a couple of seconds on that pit stop, but he is not any worse for the wear and no less determined to get back up to the front. Levi Cox steals the second position from Matt Garrett. Gregory Shepsis about 20 car lengths back in the fourth position. Chris, one of the drivers I want to just take a moment to talk about, back in 10th position, Bobby Grant. Getting ready to try to make a pass. Actually, that might be a car a lap down. Bobby Grant looking to catch Justin Clapper, but that number 98 car, we were talking about Mountain Dew last week, and I had mentioned that I really liked the Voodoo Mountain Dew. I believe I said that was my favorite. I think it is, but I tried, I didn't try it for the first time, but I drank some Mountain Dew Baja Blast this past week, and I was reminded of how good the Baja Blast is, and it's the 20th anniversary of Baja Blast. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it. Yeah, that
20th anniversary.
That's an iconic flavor. Usually it used to be you had to go to a Taco Bell to get Baja Blast. It wasn't sold. It wasn't sold anywhere else. But it's become such a popular flavor that it's everywhere now. And you see a lot of different things. I see Doritos on that car. I see Monster Energy. I see Call of Duty. So you know what you do, Ellis, if you're ever playing Call of Duty. You get your Doritos, you get your Mountain Dew, you get your Monster Energy, you mix them all up in a blender, and then you just funnel them in your mouth, and you just keep on doing that while you're clicking heads.
Man, speaking of Mountain Dew and blended snacks, which that sounds absolutely grotesque. We are in Florida. I thought it would be a good idea to play a little guessing game, and our fans in the chat watching it at home are free to play. Definitely type your answers in the chat if you think you have any idea, but are you familiar with Florida Man and that kind of running line of jokes?
Are you talking to me? Not really.
Yeah, you've never heard these Florida Man headlines before?
I have heard some of them, but not a ton of them. I'm not as up on them maybe as some other people are.
Maybe I lived in Florida, and I'm sure if you lived in Florida, you probably witnessed this and are familiar with it as well. But I want to read you a couple of headlines. I'm going to leave one word blank, and I want to know if you can guess what goes in the blank.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. And everyone at home, you can play this too as we watch on from Homestead Miami Speedway. You can see the leaders right now. Aaron Smith looking at the timer and ticker on the left. You can keep up with your favorite driver, but play along with us for a second here from Florida. So, Florida woman tries to bring 4-foot emotional support blank on a plane. I'll read that again. Florida woman tries to bring 4-foot emotional support blank on a plane. Let us know in the chat if you have any guesses on what word fills in that blank.
I've got some ideas.
We'll give it a moment. Let people put some of their guesses in. Let you think about it. We'll come back to that in a moment. Connor, we hope you enjoyed the Crank It Up as well as everyone at home. Chris, Brandon Roberts and Justin Clapper, they're going at it right now down the backstretch. It's a battle. Roberts has the upper hand at this point. And, Chris, this is one of the cars. This was the first car to come down pit road. And Brandon Roberts has definitely made up some spots on the track using those fresh tires as he's climbed his way up to the 7th position. How long do you think that strategy is going to work?
I think it works for a little while. I think what Brandon Roberts is hoping for is that, in the midst of this run that we're currently on right here, is that he gets a caution. He's been able to maybe, leapfrog a couple of positions here, and maybe take advantage of that as Tyler Truex in the wall in front of these guys. Truex looks like he's going to pull it off the wall right here, stay out of these guys' way. I think that Roberts is maybe, like I said, just hoping that maybe we get a caution in the midst of this run right here. He can grab a couple spots and then maybe, sort of recycle, get on the same, playing field as everybody else.
Absolutely, and he is doing a good job right now. Truex trying to capitalize and get by Justin Clapper here. I believe that's Truex going by in the number 69. Clapper on the outside. Truex on the inside, climbing his way back up to 5th position. Started in the 9th position, had gotten up to the top 5, since lost a couple positions, but as they work their way by the lap car of David Reichman, they're looking to both. Reichman slides up the track a little bit. Almost had contact with Truex in that number 69, but everyone gathers it up. We keep on going. Clapper ripping that fence like we mentioned all night long, doing a really good job holding on to that 5th position right now from Tyler Truex. And hey, the answer To that question, Chase
hang on.
Leahy said, "Oh yeah, go ahead."
Hey,
No,
I
yeah.
wanna-
What did you say? What would your guess be?
I'm going to go, it's Florida, so I'm going to go Komodo dragon, lizard, iguana, some variation of that.
Some sort of reptilian creature.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chase Leahy said a bear. And Connor said a lion. You said a reptile of some sorts. The closest answer, Chris, you were somewhat correct. You said a reptile, but you did not name the reptile correctly. Florida woman tries to bring 4-foot emotional support snake on a plane. Literal snakes on a plane here. Okay. This happened just back in January. Transportation, TSA said security officers found the snake curled up inside a carry-on bag.
I kind of feel bad for the snake having to get on an airplane. I don't know if you've been on an airplane recently, Ellis, but they're kind of like war zones these days.
Yeah, people have just lost all their manners and kindness. These drivers, man, they're being kind to each other out here on track tonight. This battle between Truex and Clapper has not really lessened in intensity, but these drivers are showing a lot of respect for two drivers that were at each other's throats just a week ago in Las Vegas based on an on-track incident. They've raced each other like true gentlemen out there. Clapper in the wall off of turn number 3, not because of Truex, but he just ripped that wall. And Chris, that's the danger of ripping the fence as we talk about. You're going to pay the piper at some point when you get that right side into the retaining wall.
Definitely, and we'll ride on board with Justin Clapper right here. Tyler Truex to his inside. This will be a really, really good vantage point right here because of how good Clapper's been up here on the wall. Listen to those RPMs down the front stretch. Man, he was letting that thing sing. And, of course, the moment that we switch to him, he decides to go to the bottom of the track. So, it never fails. But, yeah, he's going to get back in front of Truex. Clapper here has about 4 lap fresher tires than Truex, so not surprised, really, to see the speed out of that 63. Look at him down here in 3 and 4, though. He's going to get it up here a little bit closer to the wall. Look at that right there in the center of the corner right there, how close he is. Takes extreme concentration not to slide that right front and just, get that car up into the outside retaining wall. But doing a nice job in this 63 Chevy.
Yeah, that battle for the 4th position, or the 5th position, I should say, has calmed down just a little bit, Chris, but start playing the Jaws music because in 2nd place, Levi Cox has closed the gap to now less than 0.3 of a second, about 4 or 5 car lengths off the back bumper of Aaron Smith here on lap number 82. We're going to have a battle for the lead on our hands in just a couple of laps. Chris, I'm curious if we can pull up that the Race Insights battle box to see the differences in those drivers as they roll through the corner and who's running the faster laps between Levi Cox and Aaron Smith. And you can see Pierce Insights, or Pierce Graphics Race Insights, predicting based on expected lap times and what we've seen so far, 3 laps for Levi Cox to at least get by Aaron Smith or get side by side with him. Remember, as DW always said, catching them is one thing, passing them is another. Now Aaron Smith stretches it out to about 4 car lengths. They're going to get by the 08 of Glenn Grimm, who had trouble, kind of an innocent bystander earlier on in the race down the back straightaway. And it's going to be Levi Cox who jumps to the inside there, closes it back up just a little bit to his competitor Aaron Smith, that driver out of Virginia. Levi Cox having a really good night tonight, Chris. Finished 3rd in both races so far this season, and he says he's raced, I'm just looking at the facts about Levi. He's raced a Pure 4 at Kingsport Speedway and an 87 Mustang for an entire season. So he's got some real life race experience. You or I would not know how that translated into racing on sim racing, but I'd imagine it probably doesn't hurt at all to have a little bit of experience in a real car as we watch these drivers get ready to battle for the lead here on lap 84.
I don't think it hurts at all, and I think for the biggest thing that I think that real racers have over guys who have never been on the track before, when they get into a sim, they got that mentality already. It takes a certain type of mentality, a certain type of mental acuity out here on the track. Just their race presence is just a little bit better. Their racecraft seems to be a little bit better, and definitely seeing that out of Levi Cox this season. I think that Aaron Smith kind of alluded to it last weekend. Or last week at Las Vegas. He felt like Levi Cox was his closest competition over the course of a long run, and I think you're seeing that again tonight. I think this is going to be a battle to keep our eyes on all season long.
It is going to be. We've got some great battles. This is going to be a great season. Just 3 of 15 races in. This is the 3rd race tonight. We're going to have a 3-race chase at the end of the season, and we got some great drivers. Chris, we mentioned just determination and just kind of logging laps and racecraft getting better and being shown off by a lot of these drivers. I want to jump all the way back to 16th for a second because I think we found the guy that we're going to be keeping an eye on all season. It's his first season on iRacing. Michael Benton running the 16th position right now. This is going to be our Lee Campbell. If you've ever watched Slingshot Racing races before, this is going to be our Lee Campbell, I feel like, of this season. Benton, he's out there learning and logging laps, and this is what you really want in a sim racer in any racing league. You know, right now, ran into some trouble at the beginning of the race, but Benton just logging laps, learning, observing the drivers, kind of moving around him as they come by a little bit faster. We're going to watch Matt Garrett come up here on his outside in just a moment, getting out of the way here for the leaders. But this is all you can do for anyone interested in sim racing. If you're watching right now, if you haven't jumped on, this is a big lesson. Chris, my dad, you know, we've raced with him now for almost 2 years. He's like, man, I'm just going to run. If I can run 25th tonight, that's fine if I don't wreck, right? That is how you learn. You don't learn by going out there and just blowing the doors off for the first 2 laps and then wrecking. You learn by just racing and watching those around you. So kudos to Mike Benton, a couple of other drivers out there still running around. Matt Garrett, Chris, something happened to the 19. Was I completely out of the loop now 7 laps down?
Yeah,
9 laps down.
If something did happen, I missed it.
Yeah,
I wonder if this was a connection issue.
I'm showing he was on pit lane for 5.5 minutes.
Maybe he got some damage.
This happened 5 laps ago. I'm going to go back for just a second and see if I can't figure out what happened.
And while you do that, he is sideways and he saves it. Man, he almost brought out our first caution, but he was able to corral it right there off of turn 4. A heck of a save from the 19 of Matt Garrett. Excuse me.
Matt Garrett, man, we talk about this all the time. The commentator's curse strikes again. Do you think like people are listening to the race? They've got on their TVs or something. They hear us talking, they get nervous, or I wonder how much that plays a role as we watch this replay here. That is going to be the save of the night. I have no doubt no one's going to top that one.
Very impressive save right there. We'll actually ride on board like from the helmet cam right here. I'll rewind it back so you can see. Watch these hands right here in the middle of turn 3, 4. Yeah, he almost overcorrected into the wall. Did a really nice job and did a nice job to get the wheel back straight. Nice job to not panic right there and overcorrect.
Yeah, Chris, I'm trying to figure out what happened to him on lap 74. I'm not really seeing it. I'm not seeing any record of him hitting the wall. Hold on, I might find it here. Lap 72. Oh, yeah, Chris, he got loose in front of Greg Shepsis off of turn 4. Same thing that happened earlier, and he smacked the wall hard and did some damage to that suspension. So having to go back in the replay and look here what happened to an early leader, Matt Garrett, one of the contenders tonight, winds up with some heavy, heavy suspension damage from a slap of the wall on lap 72 just several laps ago. So that explains what happened to that 19 car.
Yeah, super unfortunate. He's been really fast all night. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first race in Thursday Night Thunder this season. So. Yeah,
he missed the first 2 races, and gladly he's here tonight for race number 3. But yeah, kind of a coming out party, so to speak, for that number 19 of Matt Garrett is soured here on lap 72 just a little while ago.
Yeah, I hate to see that, but definitely glad he's out here and racing with these guys. And man, he's put on a really good show tonight, so hopefully he keeps on showing back up every single week. And he's definitely got, you know, a good bit of pace underneath him. One guy that also has a lot of pace, just real steady all night tonight, is this guy in this number 27. That's Gregory Shepsis. I feel like he's been one of the fastest guys on the long run. He pit a few laps before Aaron Smith, Levi Cox, Steven Lashinsky. But here he is right here in the 3rd spot, doing a nice job of, sort of maintaining pace. He's been in that 2.5 to 3.5 second difference between himself and Levi Cox in 2nd. So Sheps is doing a really nice job tonight and looking to get himself a podium possibly.
Yeah, and he's one of these other drivers that has wingless sprint car experience on the East Coast in real life, Chris. So Sheps is one of these guys who's got a little bit of real life car driving experience, and we're seeing that probably pay off a little bit tonight. I wouldn't want to face him in a sprint car on iRacing, though. That's for sure. In that number 27, there's something this just reminds me. Maybe it's definitely the body style, but just the white car with that 27 reminds me of a car from like 2002, 2003, and 2004. I don't know. Those simple paint schemes do it for me. I'm just a simple guy, I guess. But he says he's good at the road courses. We mentioned that earlier. We might be looking him leading those road course races, maybe giving Aaron Smith a run for his money. And hey, speaking of paint schemes, we mentioned the simple number 27 out there running with some real speed. You can get simple or really, really complex and crazy and out there, but all good-looking paint schemes from Sim Wrap Market, who are the presenting sponsors for the Thursday Night Thunder Series. We're at lap number 96. Smith is in the lead, Cox second, Sheps is third, Lashinsky fourth. Tyler Truex is your final car in the top 5. We're going to take a moment to hear from our partners at SimWrap Market, and we'll be back on the other end of this break to bring you the rest of the race live, uninterrupted as long as it goes green. All right, back here from the virtual Homestead Miami Speedway, it's Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith in the booth for Slingshot Racing Media. It's the TNT Series, race number 3. Battle for the leads heating up. Aaron Smith is your leader. Levi Cox is second. Gregory Shepsis is in third, about 4 seconds back. You have to go all the way back 15 seconds, about a third of the way down the track to find Steven Lashinsky fourth, and then Tyler Truex about 3 seconds behind them. Chris, the leaders have really stretched it out to this point, the top 5 at least, that is. Aaron Smith really putting on a clinic along with Levi Cox. How much are you starting to see the tire strategy now about 36 laps into this stint? A little over the halfway mark for these drivers on these sets of tires. Are we starting to see those guys who ran that inside bottom line rather than ripping the top start to gain a little bit of advantage to stretch it out over here on lap 100?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think that, a lot of those drivers on that first run who ran up high, I think those are some of those first drivers that you saw pit also because they knew they were in a little bit of trouble pace-wise. And so, drivers like Tyler Truex, Truex has got about 8 more laps older tires than these guys right here. It's Levi Cox loose off of turn 4. He's going to save it. Yeah, I think that's definitely something to keep our eyes on. And though Truex, I think, has maintained pretty well considering how he has come to pit road earlier than some of these guys, because I think that everybody maybe got a little bit of a wake-up call in that first run about maybe pacing themselves.
Yeah, I think drivers are definitely doing a little bit better job pacing themselves. Hey, back to 12th position. I think that might have just been a pass that Robert Walton put on David Reichman for the 11th position. Reichman slides back into 6th position. But Walton's done a really good job, Chris, of kind of steadily working his way back in the field, up through the field after falling back early. After starting in the 5th position, he's climbed his way back up to 11th. Brandon Roberts, Chris, that early pit stop paid dividends at the beginning, front end of this run, but he slid back to 10th with Chris Blassie working his way by. We didn't mention Chris tonight at all in that number 15. He's a Daytona winner. He's no stranger to winning in the state of Florida as he rides in the 9th position right now. But Blassie doing a good job out there. He's just kind of slowly working his way up through the field. Started in the 16th position. He's up 7 positions tonight, Chris. And Man, he says his favorite tracks are super speedways, but he's doing pretty good tonight here on what we might call an intermediate track. He says his favorite driver is Denny Hamlin. Thank goodness there are no charters for the Thursday Night Thunder Series, because if he was adopting the Denny Hamlin strategy, he might not be racing past this week. But Blassie doing a good job out of there. Oh, come on, Chris. Commentator's curse.
Hey, you brought up his favorite driver was Denny Hamlin now. I mean, I'm not going to say.
Are you saying he might have been choking a little bit there?
Hey, a little bit of voodoo right there, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Chris Blassie, definitely a force to be reckoned with on the super speedways. He's definitely one of the drivers that I think that there is to beat. And, I think that he's having a nice solid run tonight. Right now, up into the top 10 right here, and maybe look to see what he can do with Anthony Burleson in front of him, possibly.
Yeah, he's going to gain. See if he can gain on Anthony Burleson, Chris. And I just keep on looking at the 19 of Matt Garrett, thinking, feeling really bad for him after that lap number 72 incident. Looking through the rest of the field for some of the close, tight racing. Tyler Truex has got his hands full right now with Brandon Roberts. Roberts is a lap down. Truex trying to make his way by in the 5th position right now underneath that black and purple 00, but making no ground up on Brandon Roberts here in the 00. That 00 was tough, but we saw that kind of strategy he played early. Had been running outside the top 10. Climbed his way in the top 10 on fresh tires. Did I see damage on the right side of that 00? Is that my imagination?
Yeah, he had that damage early in the race, and I think that could be affecting his performance.
Was it with Glenn Grimm, I think, on the first couple of laps?
Yeah, I think that he was damaged in that deal with Grimm. And, unfortunate for him. His Truex is sideways. Is he going to save it? He does save it. He's down in the paint.
Hold on to it, Tyler. Down the front straightaway. Several saws to the wheel, and he gathers it back up, Chris. This has been the driver who has been loosest all night. He's on 51-lap old tires. He's got the oldest set of tires on the track, Chris. He could, in theory, I don't think he can make it. It would be 68 laps. He's going to have to go about 7 to 8 more laps on the sets of tires if he's going to make it on one final stop. So look at that, how sideways he was.
Yeah, you can see right there in the windshield right there. You can see those hands sawing back and forth. Had a really good perspective of how his hands were so full right there coming off of turn 4. Great job by Truex straightening it out right there. Continuing on right here in the 5th spot.
5th spot for Tyler Truex. He's got Justin Clapper coming up behind him, about 3 seconds back. Clapper trying to make some ground up on the number 6 behind him. It's Bobby Grant in the 7th position. He's the first car a lap down, so if a caution were to come out here on lap 108 or any time after, we do have a lucky dog rule, and that would put Bobby Grant back on the lead lap behind him. We mentioned Burleson not too far behind, about a second or 2 behind, I believe, based on my timing. That's a little weird, but top 5. Aaron Smith, Levi Cox, Greg Shepsis, Steven Lashinsky, and Tyler Truex. Talked about almost everyone tonight. I'm trying to see folks we haven't mentioned to give them some airtime right now. Glenn Grimm, we saw him early for reasons he probably would not prefer, getting into the wall. Down the front straightaway early in the race. He's gathered up. He's gotten back up to 13th position. Done yeoman's work out there for the last 109 laps. He's a real-life driver too, Chris. Drives at Hagerstown Speedway in Pennsylvania. He's from Shippensburg. Is there a university in Shippensburg? I might be making that up. I feel like you and I knew someone from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania when we were in elementary school. That's a weird connection, but I remember that town for some reason. Yeah.
Maybe so. Also, I can't remember.
He loves Twizzlers. I feel like we talked about Twizzlers last week, and I'm kind of mid on Twizzlers, whether I like them or not. I'll eat them, if I'm hungry, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get my hands on them.
Yeah, not the worst. Not the worst candy. Definitely not in the realm of candy corn, but it is definitely
easy on the candy corn. Ellen's going to hear you.
She's going to get upset with me again.
He was very upset. Upset.
Yeah, but it's still a solid choice, but not one that I'm going to be purchasing myself anytime soon, probably.
You want to do another Florida man guess?
Let's do another Florida man guess. I enjoyed that.
All right. So here's the headline. Fill in the blank. We are in Florida racing at Homestead Miami Speedway, so we thought we'd have some fun with some Florida Man puzzles or guessing games. Here's the headline. Wanted Florida woman found hiding inside blank. Wanted Florida woman found hiding inside blank. If you're at home, let us know in the chat what you think that blank was. And we're going to be giving away a 1/64 scale die cast to one of our active chatters tonight.
Right in front of our leader, Michael Benton almost lost it right in front of Aaron Smith. And that was almost
close.
That was almost a disaster.
He might have just blown out an engine.
Yeah,
I think I heard someone. Oh, he's going to bring us under caution if he can't get it gathered back up. Will the caution come out for the first time? No, he tows it off the track, lap 113. We're still under green flag conditions. Michael Benton have some trouble down the front straightaway there, but Chris, I think he might want to hide under this as well. His night not going the way he wanted to. Had a good night going out there and heard some footsteps in front of the leader. That could be a really tense situation when you've got the leader who's coming up fast behind you. Like, I've been in this situation before, and you just kind of overthink it a little bit, and that might have been very well what happened to Michael Benton on old tires as well. We're starting to see these drivers really, really worse for wear on their tires. So a couple things might have been at play there with Michael Benton, but after a good run going tonight, getting a lot of laps, he's going to be on pit road, 15th position on lap 114. And Chase Leahy says sewer. She was hiding in a sewer. That's his guess. Let us know if you got any guesses for wanted Florida woman found hiding inside blank. What do you think it is, Chris? You got any guesses?
I got a good one.
Okay, what do you got?
I don't know if it's a good one, but it just seems like something. I'm gonna guess at one of those gas station ice chests.
A gas station ice chest where the bags are?
Yeah.
All right. The answer. Wanted Florida woman found hiding inside couch.
I don't even want to know.
Inside couch. Here's what the story says. In a scene straight out of the sitcom, this Florida woman was caught on camera emerging from the inside of a couch after a failed attempt to hide from police officers. And the image is of her literally climbing from underneath the couch, like underneath the cushions. How she got in there, I don't know. Only in Florida, though. Only in Florida. We are in Miami, Florida here. 116 laps of 175 down. Just 60 laps left on the track tonight. Aaron Smith, Levi Cox, Greg Shepsis. Those are your top three, followed by Steven Lashinsky and Tyler Truex. Rounding out your top five, Justin Clapper, sixth. Bobby Grant, seventh, along with Anthony Burleson in eighth. Chris, they're 54 laps. The highest lap count on tires right now. Greg Shepsis is on lap number 57 of these tires.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, we'll go ahead and put the stints up here on the ticker so everybody can see where their favorite driver is in their tire lifespan. And Tyler Truex actually got 62 laps on his set of tires right here. So I think Truex is trying to stretch it a little bit further since he came to pit road kind of early before.
Yeah, he is going to have to stretch it probably more than he's going to be comfortable with. We've seen him loose a couple times. We do have confirmation in the chat from Mike Benton, who just parked it on pit road a couple of laps ago. He said, blown motor. He saw the leader coming and got loose, just wanted to get out of the way. Figured, yeah, that is a common refrain. It's happened to me. It's happened to a lot of people before. So it won't be the first, and it won't be the last either. But, hey, battle going on between Chris Blassie and Robert Walton back in 11th and 10th position, Chris. It's Walton trying to get his way by Chris Blassie right behind Glenn Grimm here, who gets a little bit loose off the corner as we begin to cover that here. Down the back straightaway, it's Walton and Blassie. This is a good little battle going.
Yeah, and Walton right now, he has come to pit road, and he has taken tires a little bit sooner, it looks like, than Chris Blassie, and he has gotten around Blassie right here to move up into the 10th spot. Back behind them, it looks like Tyler Truex trying to get around Blassie. Truex is still on the lead lap while Blassie is one lap down. So, as Blassie's in the wall, he tags it with the right side. That didn't do nothing to it. That just, just made it a little bit faster, narrowed it up
might have narrowed it up and made it a little bit faster. Ask Alex Bowman about what knocking some pieces off the car will do for your speed. Sorry, any Alex Bowman fans watching in the chat. It's been a rough week. But, yeah, I'm just looking through the field right now. Burleson. Yeah, Truex is going to be on pit road. 64 laps on that tire cycle. That's going to be what he's got to do on this last run here. It's going to be 64-lap run for Truex if he's going to make it to the end on these tires. He's had enough. He's going to be the first of the real leaders to come down pit road here on lap 121. He's going to have to make sure that pit stop is precise and he doesn't slide it. He looks like he gets into his box cleanly. And we're going to see what this does to his speed on the next lap. And you're going to see him quickly closing in on a lot of cars. And maybe he's able to jump a couple of guys like Lashinsky and maybe even Cox. Shepsis has moved up to second right now. And I would imagine we're going to start to see these leaders, Chris, anytime. Gregory Shepsis is on 61-lap-old tires. We said that if you stretched it, you can make it 64 to 65 laps. Here comes Shepsis from second place. It's Gregory Shepsis now on pit road for the second time tonight.
Yeah,
Slow crawl down pit road.
Levi Cox just leaves pit road right here on his fresh tire. Shepsis on pit road right here. Shepsis probably had to pit with Levi Cox's closest competitor pitting in front of him, so probably felt that pressure to do that. Aaron Smith still on the track. Probably feels like he can go another lap maybe further than Levi Cox, considering their position on the track. We'll see if we see the 70 come to pit road. No, he's still out on track too, so he's going to run another circuit around the Homestead Miami Speedway.
And we mentioned last pit stop, Aaron Smith had some trouble getting down pit road, Chris. Really loose on entry, trying to push the envelope as much as possible on speed. Does he try the same thing here now that Levi Cox isn't right next to him, or does he have a little bit more breathing room to come down pit road?
He's got a little bit more breathing room, but he does go one more lap right there. So he's not pitting this time. Gonna go an extra circuit around the speedway right here. We'll see if he decides to pit this time. This is a lot of confidence right here to keep on going, because I think that no matter what happens here, Levi Cox is gonna come out with the race lead, and it looks like right here, only Smith and Lashinsky for the lead lap cars are the only ones that are left out here on the track. Lashinsky is actually on pit road right now.
Yeah, it's going to be Lashinsky pitting from second place. That's going to leave Aaron Smith, who's going to come down pit road this time by. Looks a lot cleaner from my vantage point. Gets down perfectly straight on the entry to pit road. Definitely looks like he got down to the speed limit. He's going to come to the attention of his crew in just a moment. He's got that so beautiful pit stop or pit stall number 1 that he's just going to be able to make a clean exit right off of the front of pit road, get back on the apron, and get back up onto the track as close to Levi Cox as he can. Cox is going down the backstretch right now, Chris. He's going to be entering turn 3. This one's going to be close as Aaron Smith is still in his pit stall at this point. Smith's going to be rolling here in just a moment, but Levi Cox makes his way down the front straightaway. He's going to easily get by Aaron Smith, who's still on that access road banking. Cox is rolling through the center now. Might not be as easy as I thought it was going to be. Smith gets back up to speed down the back stretch. And there goes by Levi Cox. He's going to have to thread the needle underneath Glenn Grimm, headed down into turn number 3. That's a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. It's just about 3 or 4 car lengths between Cox and now the front bumper of Aaron Smith, who is now within a car length. Aaron Smith, Chris, did an amazing job getting off the pit road, far exceeding any expectations I had. I thought he was going to get his doors blown off by at least 7, 8, 9, 10 car lengths.
Yeah, he did a great job. He did a great job on the laps prior to the pit stop as well. He ran some good, clean, quick laps for where he was in the run. And like you said, he got on the pit road really smooth, sort of maximized his speed. Did a great job on the access road. There's an access road right here on this track right here, as we've seen all the drivers take coming back out on the track. And sometimes you see some drivers run into some trouble on those access roads coming back on the track. But he did a very nice job, getting back out there. And so Levi Cox now has got 4-lap older tires. That's not huge. It's not huge at all, but it's still enough where Aaron Smith has got an advantage here. But Aaron's not, he's not pouncing all over Levi Cox. He's just sort of sitting back there riding, waiting. We're riding on board right here, the gearbox on Levi Cox's Dodge. Looking back at Aaron Smith, and he's just maintaining that gap right now. But can he maintain this pace? Can he keep Aaron Smith at bay over the course of these final, about 47 laps here?
47 laps left here from Homestead Miami Speedway. It's about 2 car lengths separating leader Levi Cox from that bright yellow number 70 machine of Aaron Smith in second. Gregory Shepsis all 12 seconds back. That might as well be an eternity here in the closing stages of this race. It looks to be a 2-car battle if this race does indeed go green for the final stretch. Tyler Truex has climbed to 4th place after starting 9th tonight. Lashinsky, that is Steven Lashinsky in the 99 Monster Jam truck, up to 5th position. And hey, if you're watching right now in the chat, we've got some active chatters. We appreciate y'all being here. Connor, we hope you have a good evening as well. Chase Leahy in the chat, Mike Benton in the chat. If you're watching, let us know who you are rooting on. Who do you think is going to win this race in just a mere 46 laps from now? We're giving away a free die cast. We're going to do that here in just a couple of laps. Now is your last chance to get in on that chat and be entered in to win that 1/64th scale die cast. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already done so, and you also like this video. It doesn't cost you a thing to do either one of those things. It doesn't really cost you much time either, and it greatly helps us and helps get these drivers that you're rooting for out in front of more fans. And Chris, this battle for the lead is heating up immensely right now. Aaron Smith beginning to push the issue up top. Levi Cox doesn't leave enough room for that 70 to get to his outside, closes the door. Meanwhile, I should say slams the door. It's going to be Smith down to the bottom, Aaron Smith that is, and it's going to be Levi Cox about up half a lane. We're going to see if that makes a difference off the corner. Aaron Smith draws a beat on that back bumper. He's going to stay there. Will he push it to the inside down into turn number 3? He does, but I don't know if he's going to have the momentum to really get up underneath the number 1 of Levi Cox as he climbs the banking out of turn 4 for the 131st time tonight.
Yeah, he's really putting the pressure on right here, but he's also being very, very patient, not forcing the issue here. Levi Cox also doing a very good job of, not pushing that throttle pedal down any harder than what he has to, not getting the back end of that Dodge early right here. Both these drivers doing an excellent job of trying to remain cool under the pressure of this battle for the lead and for the potential win here.
Cool and collected, Mr. Ice. That's what we call Aaron Smith around here as he draws a bead on Levi Cox for the lead. That car in the background is a lap down. That is Robert Walton, the 66, sitting inside the top 10 right now. Chris, that shows you top 10 car a lap down, all but the top 5 a lap down. That shows you the speed that these first 5 drivers, Cox, Smith, Shepsis, Truex, and Lashinsky, have kind of lorded over the field all night long. All those drivers running really fast laps at this point in the closing stages. Truex now works his way up to the 4th position. Shepsis definitely having his best complete run of the season with just about 32 or 42 laps left in the race in 3rd position. Truex, Chris, might be the good hands driver of the night with how many saves we've seen the driver of the 69 pull off this evening as he makes his way down the back straightaway. And man, it has been, we've been all 134 laps under green flag conditions. No yellow so far. Levi Cox, the only yellow he's seeing is that number 70 to his inside. The battle for the lead picks up here. Lap 134, ooh is right. Smith and Cox, you could separate them by a sheet of paper between those 2 doors, and they're dead even down the back straightaway. It was Cox leading that lap that time by. He's on the outside in that black and red machine. It's Aaron Smith to the inside. We mentioned it, Chris. Smith doing just such a good job of maintaining that nose right next to the white line all night long. Robert Walton of Fresh Tires is going to be coming up behind these guys in a moment.
Aaron Smith going to clear Levi Cox right there, entering turn 3. Cox going to dive it back to the bottom right here. He's going to get that Dodge to the inside of that Chevy. Always loose, though.
Gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful. Drive to the inside. You gotta make sure you hold it down and don't drive up into the door of your competitor, Aaron Smith. And to do so, you might have to get a little bit loose with it. And we saw that happen there to the number 1 of Levi Cox.
Yeah, I think Levi knows that this is potentially, if we don't get another caution right here, this could be the battle for the win right here. And he didn't want to make it easy for Aaron. He definitely didn't. He definitely fought for all he could fight for right there. But Smith is going to go back to the point right here. See if Levi can maybe regroup it and, maybe see if he can cool his jets a little bit right here and maybe hang with that number 70. I think it's going to be a challenge, but I think it can definitely be done. The difference in tires is not huge. We'll add the stint laps right here up on the ticker so you can see where your favorite driver is currently on their tires. Cox got 16 laps on his tires, Smith with 12. Sheps is behind them in third with 15 on his tires.
And Chris, I'll add this. This is not anything new. We've seen Levi Cox fall back 8, 9, 10 car lengths in the middle of a run, but we've seen him draw back up to the back bumper of Aaron Smith as these runs came to a close. So don't be surprised if that number 1 doesn't fall out of the picture and gets back up to the back bumper of the number 70 tonight. It's him in second. Following Aaron Smith, the leader, Shepsis in third, Tyler Truex in fourth, Steve Lashinsky in fifth on lap 138. Justin Clapper in the number 63 is in sixth position, Ronnie. Here's your first car a lap down. Just looking through the field at any close battles we have going on. Drivers have been pretty well behaved tonight, if you will. They've given each other a lot of space. One car really loose. Anthony Burleson in 10th position. Really loose off of turn 4 there, Chris, doing a whale of a job collecting it and getting it back together. But that was a big old wiggle, and we've seen several of those off of turn 4 this evening. Drivers doing yeoman's work out there, sawing on these wheels to keep these cars going straight, and every driver has been successful tonight as far as that goes. Watching Robert Walton try to work his way around, trying to get maybe one of his laps back the hard way, or his lap back the hard way, working his way around here. Levi Cox chasing after Aaron Smith to get that lap back.
Yeah, and Walton right here is on the 3-stop strategy. We got a few drivers that are doing that. Brandon Roberts, we've been following his progress as well all night in the 0-0 with that damage to his right front. But it looks like Robert Walton is also doing the same. He's made his third and final pit stop. So he has 11 laps on his tires right now compared to Cox at 19, and you see the difference right there in those 8 laps. That's a driver right there who is a lap down, running in the 9th spot. But that shows you the difference between tires right there. I was able to blow past the guy right there in second, Levi Cox, and I think that Walton has got good enough pace to see if he'll maintain it right here. I think he might have good enough pace where he can possibly chase down Aaron Smith and maybe get back on. I said back on the lead lap, but he's currently 2 laps down, so he's looking to get one of them back.
Oh, yeah, Robert Walton is 2 laps down, so he'd be looking to get that 1 lap back. And, hey, there's only 3 other cars on the lead lap, or on the 1 lap down point in front of him. So if we were to get a caution, again, we've been caution-free all 141 laps of this race. Just 34 laps remaining, Chris. This has been a epically fast race. I don't want to jinx this so far with just a handful of laps left, but these drivers, we just been one of the pre-race stories, Chris. We mentioned a lot of drivers were hoping for a cleaner race this week. A lot of drivers had trouble last week. First real tough track of the season coming off of Daytona, and they have recovered gracefully and just amazingly tonight to run 142 now laps caution-free. Aaron Smith has kind of been leading the way much of tonight, the driver out of Hollywood, South Carolina. And weirdly enough, Chris, I'm curious if we can ask him about this in post-race, if he does indeed finish in the top 3. But Aaron Smith, when we asked him how many years he's been sim racing, he said it would be 9 this year on Halloween. So I'm wondering, and clearly there's some sort of event on Halloween that might have been his first iRacing event. I don't know. But I am a little bit curious about that with Halloween coming up. You got any Halloween plans? You got any costumes planned?
No costumes planned right now, but, that could always change. As you said, Ellis, for our new viewers at home, yes, we're both teachers, and so it's always a little bit iffy if we're going to be allowed to dress up at school for Halloween, or what's going to be allowed. So those plans are kind of tentative at the moment. It's not 100% sure on that. Be fun to do it, though. I'd like to do it.
That would be fun, yeah. We've got costume day tomorrow, and I'm not wearing a costume.
I'm not gonna do it.
It was for homecoming week, and yeah, I'm really bad. I've got my school uniform I wear, just dress shirt and dress pants, and I forget to do anything else throughout the week. So one of these days, maybe I'll wear caution. It's not going to be this year, unless you're talking about caution for the world's best looking gal. I had to do it. Hey, best looking car on track right now. How you like that transition? Is Aaron Smith sitting in first in that number 70, Levi Cox. Chris, that lead is gained or increased, I should say. It's ballooned to 3.2 seconds. And just looking at lap times, Aaron is about 2.5 seconds faster per lap than Levi. I'm not sure if we're starting to see tire management really play a role here, but I feel like it's headed that direction. With just 39, now 29, I should say, laps left in this race.
Yeah,
29 laps left.
Yeah, we look at the battle forecast right here, the Race Insights powered by Pierce Graphics, and you can see right here the difference in pace right now at this stage of the run. Levi Cox currently at about 0.4 of a second slower than Aaron Smith, our current race leader. Hey, we got Chase Leahy in the chat right here saying, I wore a ghillie suit to school my senior year in high school for Halloween. Funny story, Chase. I wore a ghillie suit a couple weeks ago to school for our little camo day that we had homecoming week, and that was fun. It was enjoyable, but it was really hot, so I was looking to get out of that thing by the end of the day.
I would have just stood in the corner and just pretended I wasn't there if I was wearing the ghillie suit.
I definitely... I'm not going to confirm or deny if I was crouched down next to a bush and trying to scare children during the day.
Scared a few.
Or deny.
Oh, that's funny. Chase says it was very hot. Yeah, I could definitely. I've never worn one of those things, but by the looks of it, hey, I would imagine they heat up pretty quickly. Hey, one of the drivers heating up on the track right now, Bobby Grant, 7th position.
Yeah.
We mentioned the Mountain Dew man a little bit earlier, and Bobby's just been doing. He's been doing work all night long. He's been pretty quiet on the track, but he's getting the job done. Biggest mover on the night, Chris. Bobby started in the 15th position in that number 98 Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Is that Chevrolet? Did I just?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I was going to make sure I was looking at the stickers correctly, but he's doing a really good job. And just looking at Bobby on our stats for this season, let me see if I can find old Bobby. Where'd you go? Finished 7th at Daytona, didn't race at Las Vegas, so he's raced one race out of the 2 this season, and he finished 7th. So right now, looking to go 2 for 2 with the 7th place finishes if this thing finishes as is, with just about 26 laps left on the evening. But yeah, we mentioned Mountain Dew, talked about Baja Blast earlier. But yeah, it's a good looking car. I know it's got like a little some chrome green going on there.
Yeah, and
good looking base game. You see Mountain Dew's changing their logo?
Yeah, they're actually putting mountain back in the logo. Like the word mountain is back.
Crazy thought.
Yeah, imagine that.
Thought.
It's not the MTN Dew anymore. You see Call of Duty also on that car. Ellis, do you have any plans to play the Call of Duty Black Ops 6?
Well, I am a Game Pass subscriber, much to the chagrin of my wife, who keeps on asking me to cancel it because I don't use it, which is partially true. But I'm looking forward to the Call of Duty Cold War Black Ops game that's coming out, and also the Indiana Jones, which I think is going to be on Game Pass as well. The greatest value in gaming, as they say, for now at least, till the prices continue to go through the roof. But what about you?
Call of Duty has not had my attention for a while now. As much as it pains me to say that, because I was into it for a long, long time. But I've kind of fallen off of that here in recent years. But who knows? Maybe they'll bring back the OG Verdansk map in Warzone, and I'll jump back in.
I'll be back on as soon as that happens. Chase Leahy, he says Assassin's Creed Shadows is my game he's looking forward to. Well, Chase, you're going to have to wait a couple more months, I believe. That game got delayed till, I think, February. And I can't remember if I talked about this with you, but historical reasons. I believe they brought in historians and that maybe found some holes in the story a little bit that they had to correct potentially for that game that's coming out later on. I know he's very sad about it. Sad emoji in the chat for Chase Leahy. If you're not a big video gamer, we're sorry you had to listen to this little short dialogue, but it's been an amazing race. 153 laps. They've been green. So these drivers, I think we've talked about everyone, Chris, and we've tried to give some love to almost everyone. I don't think we missed anyone tonight. Anthony Burleson in 10th, Robert Walton in 9th, Brandon Roberts in 8th. It's been I would say it's been an action-packed night. We've had great racing, but there hasn't been any cautions to talk about. So
and
that's a good thing.
I would say it's definitely been a good thing, and I think it's a huge improvement over last week. Not that there was a big problem last week, but, we went green for a while last week at Las Vegas, and then we had a little bit of stretch of cautions there where, we had a few crashes in a row, and I think the drivers have, anytime that you start a new season, in any type of series, I think that it takes a little bit while for the drivers to get used to each other, learn their tendencies, learn what they do on the track, and man, we're seeing a great race tonight. I think this is a testament to these drivers' skills and what they can do and their decision making on the track tonight. They've raced really hard against each other, but very fair and very clean as Aaron Smith is looking to lap our 5th place runner, Steven Lashinsky, right in front of him. Only going to be 4 cars on the lead lap if he passes him, and Tyler Truex is just ahead in 4th.
Yeah, Chris, we mentioned just how fast these guys are, and the green flag runs, which we've had all of tonight, really gives the opportunity to the fastest cars to do exactly what they're doing right now by putting almost the entire field a lap down. And Aaron Smith, Levi Cox, they've done that. Cox, the closest car, just 6 seconds back from Aaron Smith. Gregory Shepsis in 3rd, 18, half a track behind. Chris, really, Smith and Cox have been the class of the field all night long. That's not to take away from any of the other drivers and the amazing driving that they've done tonight, but that is just a fact that we've seen on display here. Hey, speaking of hard work and good driving tonight, want to mention our 164 scale diecast winner. Got in the chat late, but he was here. Mike Benton. Mike Benton will message you about getting that 164 scale diecast to you. Hard work out there. Just looking for a consistent run. He's going to be right now in the 15th position. Maybe a diecast will make that feel a little bit better. But Connor in the chat right now says he is back after eating dinner. What'd you have for dinner, Connor? Let us know what was for dinner tonight. And hey, I want to try another transition right now that the kids would identify with. Chris, Aaron Smith is eating right now. Did I say that right? Did I say it?
I think that you said it correctly. I guess you could say that Aaron Smith is him.
See, I don't even know if I know that one. That might be even a little bit above my.
Oh, like I'll just insert like a few, or like Sigma. Like I'll just try to throw a bunch of words out there that I've heard in the past 2 months.
Connor says he had McDonald's. That's definitely an alpha meal. McDonald's is an alpha meal.
Gosh.
For sure.
These are all banned words in my classroom, by the way.
This is a good battle, Chris. Lashinsky and Truex right now. This battle is heating up. It's a battle for 4th position. Both drivers now a lap down, but bragging rights on the line. Tyler Truex trying to get back on track after a crash last week at Daytona. Vegas finished 13th, looking to get back in the top 5 this week. Lashinsky falls back to the 5th position. He looks to see if he might be able to make a move down the front straightaway down into turn 1 here on Tyler Truex.
Yeah, we see a car we see a car right here in the 99 that still has really good center of the corner speed at this stage of the run. He's got about 3 lap fresher tires than Truex as well. Looks like to me Tyler Truex struggling a little bit with forward bite from the center of the corner off. And I think maybe the 99, see, he's door to door with him right here, which I think puts him in a good spot down here in 3 and 4. But Tyler Truex, man, he's been really good up on the top. Oh, and he tagged the wall right there.
The wall just a little bit for Tyler Truex. Yeah, you see wiggling off that corner big time. All but the top 3 a lap down, Chris. Just 14 laps left in this race at Miami. It has been a fast one. It's been a good one. Lots of tight racing going on, but as the race has kind of wound down, the drivers have separated out just a little bit here. Looking to see what David Reichman had some trouble a couple laps ago. See if we can figure out what was going on with the number 6 car. I'm going to take a look and see what might have happened to that number 6 just back on lap 153. Not sure if anything happened.
Yeah, while you're doing that, Ellis, Aaron Smith out here just showing everybody that he's got that dog in him, and not letting anybody get anywhere near him at this stage of the run.
Was that another like youth saying?
Yeah, he's got that dog in him.
I don't hear these. Maybe I'm just not listening well enough. It's hard to keep up with these days with all the lingo the kids use. Hey, if you haven't been using any lingo in the chat, let us know you're here. Let us know what driver you are rooting for here in the final stage of the race. Aaron Smith out by 8 seconds in front of Levi Cox. Greg Sheps is another 12 seconds behind them. I think we got to do one more Florida man story tonight.
Oh boy, here we go. Do we have any Florida drivers in the race tonight? Do we know if we do?
I don't think so. I was looking through earlier. Let me double check that. See if we've offended anybody.
Well, no, I just want to, we'll focus in on a Florida man while we talk about Florida men.
Yeah, Josh Kerner, but he's off the track.
Okay.
Come on, Josh. You had to give that one to us. So Josh Kerner is from Florida, but he is off the track right now. Let's see what we have. Trying to look up a good one. How about this? The headline is, "It's huge. Florida man finds what hiding inside his toilet?" Florida man finds a blank in his toilet. It's huge is the headline. Let us know in the chat what you think the blank is, what that Florida man found in his toilet. Chase Leahy says a snake. Hey, we've already used that one. Good guess, though.
That's what
I'm not saying you're wrong or right.
That was my first thought, was that it possibly was a snake, but I didn't think that we would do that twice.
It is Florida, you know.
Yeah, you never know. It is Florida. I mean, there's abundance of snakes in Florida. I'm going to go with another type of reptile of some kind. Yeah, I was thinking, I agree with Mike. I was thinking
Mike says gator.
That's what I was thinking as well. But it has to, but the only thing that was holding me back against that was you said it was huge. I don't know if
it was huge gator.
Yeah, could a big gator get inside of a toilet?
It'd be a baby gator.
I mean, it could be. Could be. That. I guess that's what I would go with, too. I agree with Mike. I think it's possibly
Honor
a
says
gator.
shark. Oh, boy, that would be scary finding a shark in your toilet. The answer. Florida man finds iguana hiding in his toilet.
Well, I don't know how the temperatures were in Florida last night. Here in Alabama, they were a little bit chilly last night. So, you know.
It was, yeah.
So where would you find iguanas the next day in Florida after one of those cold nights?
They go in they try to make their way towards heat, I would imagine.
Yeah.
The Florida man said, I don't know if it was just looking for a spa day or what, but it was huge. I don't know how it got there. Boy, that iguana might have been in for a rude awakening if he thought he was getting a spa day in someone's toilet. Hey, let's get back to the race, though. 8 laps left. Appreciate y'all joining in the chat, letting us know what you thought the Florida man found in his toilet. We are in Homestead, Miami, Florida here for the third race of the season for the TNT Series. It's Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith and the Slingshot Racing Media broadcast booth bringing you Thursday Night Thunder. Aaron Smith is your leader, Levi Cox second. Gregory Shepsis is third, and we mentioned, Chris, the lead is just stretching out. Aaron Smith kind of putting a whooping on the rest of the field tonight. Everyone else kind of just being victimized here in the closing stages. Aaron Smith, we mentioned it, he just saves his tires so well. We've raced with him. We've watched him race via broadcasting. And this driver has mastered tire wear better than any other driver I think I've ever raced with. And at a track like Homestead, we mentioned it in the pre-race stories to follow. Tire wear is going to be a major thing tonight. Even though drivers had 6 sets of tires in the pit, we haven't seen any yellow flag pit stops. So drivers really only able to come as often as they needed fuel under green flag conditions or risk losing laps on the track. And Aaron Smith has just been phenomenal at this tonight. What is it? What are you doing? Like, explain to someone who might not be a sim racer or someone who is a sim racer what your mentality going into the corner is that helps you just save that extra little ounce.
Well, I think a lot of it is, and I think that Aaron understands this probably better than a lot of people do. I think a lot of people get it, but it's hard to make it happen. He understands the angle of attack. You know, auto racing, whether it's on an oval or it's on a road course, is all about geometry. And I think that Aaron understands, how he can attack a corner with using as little throttle as he can, but maximizing all of the lap time that he can. We saw drivers all night running up top and running high. Those drivers were running a little bit faster than Aaron was at the beginning of the race, but they were using so much more throttle to do that. Running up on that top lane, that just uses so much more, throttle. And when you're using more throttle, you're burning more tires. Aaron is able to go down here on the bottom of the track, use less throttle than some of these drivers, and still, run really close to the same lap time. And over the course of the run, it sort of swings more in his favor that way, because those drivers are, wearing those tires out quicker than them. He can just, he can back off earlier, and he can ease back into it a lot later than some of those other drivers can. And I just think that he's got it figured out. He knows how to get the most lap time with using the least amount of gas. That's the probably the easiest way I can describe it.
That actually helped me a little bit. Getting the fastest lap time with using the least amount of gas. I like that. I might have to think about that. I'm not very good at it, nor will I be very good at it, but it's helpful to think about it that way. For sure, Aaron Smith, I haven't seen that driver put a wrong move on that car all night long as he careens his way down the backstretch here. Just that thing's been shot out of a rocket tonight, and he's got about 2 laps coming up until he is kind of putting the cap on a dominant evening, working his way by Chris Blassie. Man, Chris really has had a lot of speed tonight, Chris, but I've seen that car in the wall a couple of times. It's kind of that's the risk you run, running up high, flirting with disaster, so to speak. We watched several drivers tonight really fast up top, but get the wall. One of those drivers really that had been very, very fast all evening, really contending. Chris, I think it might have been the only car that had anything for Aaron was Matt Garrett tonight, and we saw him really fall victim to that fence ripping strategy of just riding the outside as much as possible. He got loose off a corner and took a blow to the wall on that right side. So Aaron Smith coming up on 2 laps to go here.
Actually, from just got the white flag.
Yeah, the white flag is out. That Whiplash Sim Racing Cam's white flag. Aaron Smith sees it for the second time this season from the lead. He's got half a lap before he's going to win race number 2 on the season. He won in Daytona, just a little bit further north from here. Tonight we're in Miami. Smith's going to take home the checkered flag in Homestead. The Florida man is now winner in race number 3 of the season.
And he pitches it sideways going into turn 1. And he hits the wall. I think that's the first time he hit the wall all night, was after the checkered flag there, as Smith is going to bring it home.
Smith brings home the win. Levi Cox has to settle for second tonight. He's finished third twice, and now he's going to finish second. Chris Gregory Shepsis gets his season best finish in third position tonight. Steven Lashinsky fourth. Tyler Truex rounds out the top 5. We'll go over the rest of the finishing order here momentarily after we hear from the top 3. We're going to bring them into the broadcast booth momentarily. Bear with us for just a second while we wait for those drivers to take their places. All right, Greg Shepsis is already here. We'll bring him in, see if we can grab a word. I'll wait for him to stop his car. Hey, Gregory Shepsis, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I think we have the wrong driver, Ellis.
I think you do.
Oh, man. Sorry about that. Aaron Smith, we'll talk to you in just a minute.
10-4.
Oh, that was weird. I had my hand hovering over Gregory Shepsis. Greg Shepsis, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, congratulations on pulling off that third place finish tonight. Season best finish, We've seen you have some good runs this season, just looking over what you've done the rest of the season. I had you pulled up on my stat list here. You've had some speed, but you haven't really had the finishes to show for it. Tonight, that changes, man. Congratulations. Boy, that was a long race with no cautions. Are you okay without a break?
Yeah. My shoulder's a little stiff, but I'll get over it in the morning.
Man, you had a good run going tonight. You started in the third position. You finished in the third position. Talk to us about tire wear and how important it was. That was kind of the word of the night for us, is just tire management. You did a pretty good job tonight. How difficult was it out there?
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. Every pit stop I came down, and when I changed tires, I studied the tire wear in the black box, and I made adjustments accordingly with my driving line, how soon I got on the throttle, and brake bias.
Oh man, you made it look easy out there, going 175 laps without a break. 2 green flag pit stops that looked pretty clean from our end. Did everything go on okay on pit road tonight?
Yeah, I'm very happy with my pit road performance.
Good. Not easy getting on a pit road under green at Homestead, carrying speed off that corner, man. Congratulations on that third place finish. Before we let you go celebrate it, any shout outs you want to give?
I just want to give a big shout out to Chase Leahy for putting this league together. I want to give a shout out to you guys for broadcasting it. And I also want to give a shout out to pinegolfco.com. It's a brand new golfing accessory brand that will be launching Q1 next year.
Oh, awesome. Are we going to see him on your car at any point this season?
Yeah, I have a paint scheme. I didn't run it tonight because I've been having trading paints issues.
All right, man. Well, we'll be on the lookout for it next week. We'll be looking forward to it at Richmond. Have a great evening. Enjoy that third place finish.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. That was Greg Shepsis. Now we're going to hear from Levi Cox, our runner-up tonight.
1.5.
Levi Cox, our second place finisher. This is a Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing well. Hey, it's great to hear from you again this week. Man, you definitely brought it again tonight, and for a while it seemed like it was and it really was all night, the Aaron and Levi show. You guys put on a great show. It seemed like you guys were sort of matching each other pace for pace there over the course of the long run there on those first couple of stints. Talk us through your night tonight.
That was a pretty good night. That first run was definitely fun. Felt like Aaron and I were pretty equal, and stayed right there next to each other right up until pits. Tried to jump and get into pit road, and had a drag race down pit road and overshot my box just a little bit, so I had to reverse. And I feel like that was a turning point for me, because I got behind there and kind of got on my rhythm of just saving tire, running. Kind of pushed it too hard, and I just feel like I never got back in that same little rhythm after that. So he just pulled away and gave us a whipping.
Well, yeah, we were talking about, what happened there. And yeah, sometimes, with these, you guys went 175 laps tonight, and just seemed like you never got the chance to recover. It looked like right there on that final pit stop that you wanted to try to maybe, try to jump him on the tires right there, but seemed like it just didn't quite work out for you over the course of the long run. Was that the strategy, maybe to try to pit a few laps before him there and hope it would work out for you?
Yeah, like I said, I hurt my tires pretty bad, just chasing them down, so I wanted to get in there and pit and kind of hit the reset button, but I had to give him a hard time as he was getting by me just to kill his tires a little bit, but he's a rocket.
Well, you definitely gave him a run for his money all night tonight, and you've definitely sort of inserted yourself here as a championship contender. We're definitely excited to watch how that unfolds all season long this year. And before we let you go, celebrate this second place run. Any shout outs that you want to give before we let you go?
Yes, thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank the league, Thursday Night Thunder. Shout out to my brother, Cody Glenn Cox Music, on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok.
All right, that's Levi Cox. Great run tonight, Levi. Congratulations, bud.
Thanks, sir.
All right, that was Levi Cox, second place finisher. Now we're going to hear from our winner, Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith, it's Ellis and Chris in the broadcast booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I've got you. Sorry about the heart rate monitor. I just realized I had my phone on airplane mode, so that was great.
Hey,
That was a
that's
great race.
okay, man. It was a calm night all night long, so I'm not sure we would have had a lot of action going on that thing tonight, anyways, because you put a good old fashioned butt whooping on the field, especially in that final run, man. Putting all but 3 cars a lap down tonight. Congrats on the win number 2 on the season, coming here after that win at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. Let's just walk through this thing because we noticed you'd fallen back earlier. You started on the pole, had a great qualifying effort. You'd managed your tires early, I noticed, but you didn't seem to really have a massive advantage those first 2 runs or so compared to that third run, because I was convinced that Levi Cox was going to be able to stick with you and maybe even make a run at it at the end based on what we had seen that really first and second run, but you just pulled away from him that final run. What kind of adjustments did you have to make over the course of the evening, if any, to your driving style and tire management as maybe some of the track conditions changed?
Well, I had my brake bias dialed all the way back from the start because I knew that I could get a good run through turn 4 if I kept it back. But yeah, those first 2 runs were focused mainly on fuel saving because I wanted to be sure that I could make it all the way to the end without like any sort of cautions or any interference there. So it bided my time in the first run, had some good racing with Levi, and then we got a little further apart for the second one, but he was right there the whole time. And once he pit, about 4 laps before I did, I knew that I would have the tire advantage and had what it took to kind of push past him there at the end. But I'm glad it worked out for me there. I'm glad we didn't get a caution. I was waiting for it. I didn't have the monitor running, but my heart rate was certainly going there.
Yeah, at any point, you never know. That could have turned the race upside down for you. I know you were glad that a caution did not come out there in the kind of the closing stage of the race. One thing I wanted to ask you about was that first pit stop where you come in side by side with Cox. You mentioned it. You were loose on pit entry. How close were you to losing control? And I saw you maybe clip the grass a little bit.
Yeah, it was all right. I wanted to play it a little safe there. I wasn't sure how much the tires were going to play into the pit entry there, so I wanted to kind of get out of his way and get as good of an entry as I could, despite that. But yeah, almost wrecked us both. I'm glad we all kept it together there.
Yeah, man, you did a good job. Congrats on just the domination you put on display tonight. We're heading to Richmond next week. Very different track. What do you expect to see there in terms of what we ought to be looking out for in the race, how it's going to compare to tonight?
I'm not too sure yet. If the setup's anywhere near as good as it was tonight, I feel like it'll be a really good race. Hopefully we'll get as many green flag laps in, but you never know. Richmond's always pretty crazy. Hopefully we'll have ourselves a good race there.
It absolutely is a short track, and it could get crazy. We'll be looking out for the driver, the number 70 at Richmond. He's tonight's winner at Homestead, Aaron Smith. Before we let you go, any shout-outs?
I'd like to thank all the folks at Thursday Night Thunder for putting this league on, all the folks for showing up to these races and running them, sticking them out with us. They're certainly pretty long, but they've made for some great racing so far. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. I'd like to thank y'all for broadcasting, the folks at SimRap Market for supporting the league, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it next week.
All right, Aaron Smith, tonight's winner. Have a great night, bud.
All right, thank you.
Chris, this was indeed a great race. We'll go ahead and take a look at the finishing order tonight. We already talked to those top 3 drivers. Smith, Cox, and Shepsis were your top 3. Fourth was Steven Lashinsky. Had a good run in that Monster Jam car tonight. Tyler Truex, loose all night, but brings it home for a 5th place finish, his highest finish of the season. Justin Clapper finishes in 6th. I believe that was Clapper's first finish outside of the top 5 tonight, this season. So has to settle for a 6th place finish. Bobby Grant brings it home in 7th position. Great job for Bobby. Brandon Roberts in that 00 after early contact and an incident on lap 10 brings it home in the 8th position. Robert Walton finishes 9th in that Bass Pro 66 car. Anthony Burleson brings it home 10th. Chris Blassie had a few dates with the wall tonight, Chris, but he brought her home in 11th position. David Reichman really kind of just trucked along the entire race, brings it home 12th. Glenn Grimm, early trouble, but he brings it home with a solid 13th place finish. Matt Garrett, the heartbreak of the evening, Chris, had a great, really hot rod, maybe the closest driver to Aaron Smith we saw on speed all night long. Gets in the wall on lap 72 or so halfway through this race. Hard contact after getting loose off of turn 4. Has to settle for 14th. How disappointing are you if you're Matt Garrett?
Yeah, it's disappointing. You definitely hate, to see it, especially when you have that kind of speed, but man, I hope he shows back up next week and keeps on running because he definitely showed he had speed to run with these guys tonight. And yeah, I'd like to see how he matches up on the short track at Richmond next week. But yeah, disappointing night for him for sure.
That will be following him into the short track at Richmond next week. Michael Benton, 15th. Joshua Kerner's night ends early, finished to 16th, and Chase Leahy, some issues early, put him back to 17th and out of the race. Not too soon after the green flag. 14 laps on record for him. Chris, a great night tonight. High speeds, no cautions. I think we're going to be in store for a bit of a different race next week when we roll into the short track in Richmond, Virginia. How forward are you looking at this race?
Oh, I think Richmond's a great track. I think it puts on a great show. Hopefully we don't have too many caution flags next week. Hopefully these drivers can keep it as clean next week as they kept it this week. I think it's a safe bet to say that we're probably not going to go caution free. I hope that these drivers prove me wrong, but that would be asking a lot around Richmond. But it's a great short track. Usually puts on a really good show. Looking forward to seeing these drivers under the lights next week on that 3/4 mile short track.
Yeah, man. We are in store for a big show, big treat coming up next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Just like usual, same channel, same time, different track at Richmond. Folks, this has been Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith for the Slingshot Racing Media tonight. Race number 3 of the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Your winner is Aaron Smith. We hope everyone has a good week. We'll catch you next Thursday from Richmond. So long, folks.